State laws.
Good evening. I'm going to call the Board of Selectmen's meeting for March 28th, 2022 back to order. We started tonight's meeting in executive session at 5 p.m. where we discussed collective bargaining for all town unions. No decisions were made. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comment and announcement? Public hearing. We open the public hearing to approve the following amendments to the annual all-alcohol on-premise liquor license for WFS Restaurant Group, Inc., DBA Lalouette, Christian Schultz, manager of record. Tonight he's asking for a change of DBA from Alouette to Red River Barbecue, change of stock, change of ownership interest, and change of officers. Can I hear the public announcement? Is it Mike?
Town of Harwich public hearing notice, application for change of stock, change of ownership interest, change of DBA, and change of officers. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of the General Laws as amended that application has been made to the Board of Selectmen by WFS Restaurant Group, Inc., DBA Alouette, located at 787 Route 28, Harwichport, Mass. 02646, for a change of stock and change of ownership interest. The Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing upon this application on Monday, March 28th, 2022, no earlier than 6:30 p.m. in the Don B. Griffin Room at Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, at which time all interested parties will be heard. Signed by the Board of Selectmen, Local Licensing Authority, and it was in the Cape Cod Times, March 16th, 2022.
Thank you. We are in the
Problem with the time? No earlier than 6:30.
good point, Mary. We're going to bring that back.
Okay.
That's what we naively thought that we could.
Yeah, we are starting tonight's meeting an hour early because there's so much on the agenda, and the public hearing was noticed for 6:30, so we are going to revisit that. Joe, now that we are going to revisit that, there was one thing in the packet related to Eversource under public comment announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, just a reminder that you've heard before that we know that Eversource is filing a rate review application. This is statewide. They've filed with the Mass Department of Public Utilities, DPU. And as part of the process, they are engaging in community listening sessions. And so they just wanted to remind everybody that they have 3 sessions scheduled. And that is on March 29th, March 31st, and May 4th. And this is an opportunity for anyone in the general public to provide comments to Eversource on their proposed rate review. And the rates that they're looking to increase would go into effect beginning January 2020.
That's how they felt about the rate increases.
That's all I got to say about that.
Concur. Okay, and no one else for public comments announcement. We'll move to the consent agenda.
I move that we vote to approve the consent agenda with the following items. To approve the following Board of Selectmen meeting minutes, December 7th, 2020. We're going to skip the September one. Second, to approve the advertisement for Finance Director / Town Accountant position. Third, to approve the Town Administrator's recommendation to grant permission of NStar Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, for the purpose to install 22 feet plus or minus of 1 foot 3 inch conduit from proposed handhole 121 over H2A to a customer installed handhole 121 over H2B. And last, to accept a gift of 1 bulletproof vest for Canine Fritz of the Harwich Police Department.
Yeah, which one are we skipping again?
September
13,
2021. Mary, Mary found several edits in that and sent them to Ellen today.
Okay, I had a couple on that, but I'm sure you got them.
Beyond the edits, I would encourage everybody to read your comments, because some of them just, it was a long meeting, and some of it just got a little jumbled, so I'd look at what you said and make sure it's really what you said.
And send the edits to Ellen, please.
Okay.
It predates me, so.
Oh, yeah, you're clear.
All right, with that said, any discussion? Joe?
Just one item on the prospective job notice, just a sense from the board as to when you would want application review to begin. We currently have a placeholder of some date in April, just looking for some guidance from the board.
Mary? Any guidance for Joe?
Don't start. You probably want it out for a while, right? Are you talking about when we would interview?
So, yes, sorry, no, when they would be reviewed, meaning the standard language we use that you see here is that the position will remain open until filled, and the town will commence review on such and such a date.
Oh,
Or we can strike that date as well.
I would strike that. We want to get beyond town meeting anyway, right?
My sense is we want to get on top of this as soon as possible, because town meeting ends, and then Carol's departure date, I believe, is May 8th.
Oh.
And we're going to want somebody in place, and I would think we'd want it sooner than Carol leaving, so that there could be a
Okay.
handoff. Julie?
I would go for, mid-April if we could, just because I know it doesn't give us a lot of time, but we would like to have some applicants and start that process.
Don?
Yeah, I'd love to have some overlap, just so that there's continuity.
Larry?
Agree.
Mid-April?
So that would put us at the, either April 15 or April 22nd.
By April 22nd? Roll call vote, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. New business, discussion and possible vote. Actually, Mary, I'll skip my part of this, and if you want to
Just
start
make
with a
the
motion,
motions?
that would be
Okay.
great.
I move that we vote to approve a 2022 annual common viculars license renewal, Scribanos Inc., DBA Scribanos Italian Market and Deli, 302 Route 28.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to approve a 2022 season inn holders license renewal, Weequassett Inn LLP, DBA Weequassett Resort and Golf Club, 2173 Route 28.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call vote, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to approve 2022 seasonal miniature golf license renewal, weekday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., Harbor Glen Mini Golf, 168 Route 28.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
68 Route 28.
Yep, no problem. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to approve a 2022 seasonal go-kart license renewal, weekday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., Hall Karts, Inc., 9 Sisson Road.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to approve 2022 seasonal entertainment batters box and video game license renewal, weekday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Grand Slam Entertainment, 322 Main Street, pending building department approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Is there a question from the building department that is of concern?
Joe, do you have any notes on that?
I'm just going to go into that packet now.
It's been inspected for a while.
Under F, do you do them separately or all together?
Oh, you do all six together.
All
Little time.
six together, okay.
The regulatory compliance form section was signed by the building commissioner, but he's indicated a note that he has no knowledge of any applicable violations. That's on the weekday, and same notation for Sunday. So I would say that it appears to have building approval.
We've had
Okay,
these
I'm fine with that.
We've had them in the past where the box wasn't checked
Yeah.
yet, so. Any further discussion? Roll call, Don? Mary?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to approve 2022 seasonal common viculars license renewals for the following: Belmont Condominium Trust, DBA The Beach Club, 1 Belmont Road; Seagulls LLC, DBA Seagulls Ice Cream and Soda Fountain, 537 Route 28; Schoolhouse Ice Cream and Yogurt LLC, 749 Route 28; Port Restaurant and Bar Inc., DBA The Port, 541 Route 28; PRM Foods Inc., DBA Harwich Port Dairy Queen, 441 Route 28; Wequasit Inn LLP, DBA Wequasit Resort and Golf Club, 2173 Route 28.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to approve the following seasonal on-premise all alcohol liquor license renewals. All renewals contingent upon the Selectmen's Office receiving licensee's 2022 fire inspection report within 30 days of opening. Witchmere Harbor Functions, LP, DBA Witchmere Harbor Beach and Tennis, 23 Snow Inn Road, pending certificate of insurance showing liquor liability.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call vote, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to approve 2022 seasonal entertainment license renewals for the following: Port Restaurant and Bar Inc., DBA The Port, 541 Route 28.
Mary, let's do this, I'm sorry to interrupt. Let's do this individually. And why don't we open it up for board's discussion, just in case on any of the entertainment licenses, there's modification from the board, so that the motion reflects that.
Okay.
So Mary just started, and this one is for the Port and Bar, DBA The Port, 541 Route 28. They are looking for inside, live or recorded music with amplification outside, unamplified acoustic music only, or ambient music with amplification. Actually, so they're requesting, I skipped a line, weekday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. outside and 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. inside. Sunday 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. outside and 1 p.m. to 12 a.m. inside. And then entertainment type, jukebox, radio, television, live recorded music, amplification and dancing by live performers. Last year's license was weekday 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. inside, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. outside, Sunday 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. inside, and 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. outside. And their entertainment license last year was live or recorded music with amplification, says outside, unamplified acoustic music only, or ambient music with amplification. So I'm reading, okay, no, so the first one was live or recorded music with amplification. Go ahead, Don.
That was inside. I mean, it wasn't long ago we did this.
We have a matrix as well,
Yeah.
showing last year's and this year's.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
not really in favor of increasing what we did. We haven't even been able to go through a season with what we did to see what would occur.
And I would agree with that, because we stopped amplification outside, I believe, which was a critical.
Right, and this is
Factor.
saying 6 to 10 was, last year was outside, now we're going 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. outside and amplified.
Yeah, I'm comfortable going to staying the same, it's just, we just did it.
Yeah, we just did that.
This says they had amplification outside, ambient. I don't know how you can be ambient and be amplified. outside. I
Yeah.
didn't think there was any amplification outside.
Michael, can you read, do you have that in front of you? Can you read what we did last year? I don't
The
have it in front of me.
amplification piece of this is an interesting one because the TV has amplification and ambient background music has amplification. When we talk about live entertainment, that's where we conditioned it to be acoustic only outside.
Right.
So there's a couple different plays in here. Don?
But the times are clearly different, and we had that whole discussion from the performer about outdoor, I need to be able to amplify myself. That was only just a short while ago. I mean, nothing's really changed about that. We conditioned it so that if there's gonna be a live performer, it's gonna be acoustic outside.
So,
Right.
and times last year were 6 PM to 10 PM outside,
Yeah.
Right.
and then 10 AM to 12 AM inside. That's what last year's was.
Right.
Any other discussion from the board? Larry?
I feel we should stick with what we agreed last year. It's only been a few short months and see how we do for a season.
Okay. Julie?
Yeah, I feel the same way, and I thought that was pretty much our message just a couple months ago.
Mary?
I agree, and I would just want to make it clear in our communication back to them that outside amplification is just for a TV or background music. There is no question that it's other amplification.
Yeah, for live performing, it's not.
Yeah.
And then we get to the 10 PM. We're still at 10 PM.
Right, and I'm with Larry and Julie that let's not extend it back into the afternoon. The evening is enough.
Okay. Anyone wish to comment on this online or in the room?
I think you missed Don.
Don? No, you're
No,
set.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone wish to
Mr.
comment?
Chairman,
Go
hi,
ahead.
it's Ray Tom. Sorry,
Go ahead,
earlier
Attorney
part-
Tomlinson, sorry.
there's a tremendous. Can you hear me okay? I'm gonna
We can.
turn this down very lowly on my end.
Okay.
Sorry, can everyone hear me?
We can.
Thank you. The times are not clearly different. The application is simply amended to reflect the operating hours. So in other words, in order to have TV or ambient background music outside, it's just to match the operating hours of the establishment. That's the 11 a.m. outside notation difference for requesting for this year. Again, last year did not coincide with the operating hours for the establishment, so we're simply trying to align the operating hours with the license.
Okay. Board comments on that, Don?
Yeah, as long as we can clearly delineate on the license that when it comes to live performing, the hours are different and that they're acoustic, I'm okay with doing that because you're right, it appears that we need to.
Pull your microphone closer to you, Don. Thank you.
It appears that we need, oh, you're sharing that one. It appears, that, I understand what Attorney Tomlinson is saying. It appears that they want to be able to put a TV on or something for the outside, and that would be prohibited unless we approved, some sort of outdoor license for that amplification. But as long as the license is clear, that provided that no outdoor entertainment with live entertainers is amplified or exceeds the hours of, to whatever, 6 to 10, then I'm fine with the rest of it.
Okay. Mary?
I agree with Don.
Julie?
Yeah, I do as well. And the only other question I had was, when we were going through these a few months ago, we had a few, I thought, to 9 o'clock. Am I making that up? I thought we had.
I don't recall that, but
I don't either.
I thought we did them all to 10.
Did we do them all to 10?
I think
I
so.
thought there was some 9s in them. That's fine, it's my error.
There's 1 9. Jake Rooney's.
Oh,
And that was per request of them.
okay. So
Okay.
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay. Attorney Tomlinson, does that satisfy you or any other comments?
I just want to clarify that the license for the entertainment coincides with the operating hours for the establishment. If the board seeks to condition strictly live entertainment, that those hours be separately denoted on the license.
Okay,
I have a motion if you want.
go ahead. Julie's gonna make a motion, and then I'll go back to discussion in case you have any questions.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the Port Restaurant and Bar Incorporated doing business as the Port, 541 Route 28, for weekday entertainment from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. outside for TV or background music, and restricted to 6 to 10 p.m. for live outdoor unamplified music. Good enough for that? Yep. Okay. And 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. inside. Sunday, 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. outside for TV or background music, and restricted to 6 to 10 p.m. for live outdoor music unamplified. And 1 p.m. to 12 a.m. inside.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, discussion. Attorney Tomlinson?
I just want to make sure I have that correctly. So the motion was for weekday entertainment, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. outside. That includes TV and ambient music, which can be amplified. But acoustic unamplified music outside is limited to 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. weekdays
For live
Correct.
performances.
Yes.
For live performances, yes.
for live performances. And then 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. inside. On Sundays, I had 1 to 10 p.m. outside, again, TV, ambient background music, amplified, but live performances be limited to 6 to 10 p.m. outside.
Yes.
And then 1 to 10 p.m. inside. Well, sorry, yes, 1 to 10 p.m. inside?
You have 1 to 12 a.m. inside.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you.
So that's right.
Okay, any other discussion? Don?
No.
Mary?
No.
Julie?
No.
Larry?
No.
Joe? All set?
Yep.
Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Okay, motion, Julie.
And I'm an aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I jumped in late. I don't know if you took the new business out of order, but was the 2022 seasonal common vic license for the port that was under new business item F, was that taken up by the board yet?
Yeah.
Yes, and it was approved 5-0,
As requested.
as requested.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Okay, number 2.
I move that we vote for the 2022 seasonal entertainment license renewal for Belmont Condominiums Trust, DBA The Beach Club, 1 Belmont Road, requesting weekday, Friday and Saturday only, 5 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. outside. Entertainment type, live recorded music, amplification, dancing by live performers and patrons. And the 2021 license was...
We'll get into that for
We'll get into
discussion.
that later,
Yeah,
okay.
we'll get into that for
All right.
discussion. Hey, a
That's-
second on that
Second.
motion? A second on that motion? The only discussion I have is that we've been pretty consistent about 10 PM.
Yeah.
This application's for 10:30. I would be willing to approve 10 PM, not 10:30. And start comments with Don.
I'd be fine with that as a second,
Are you fine with the motion being 10 PM, Mary?
if Mary wants.
I am. I was going to bring that up under discussion. I
Okay.
feel the same.
And Don seconded that change.
Yeah.
With that change, yeah.
With that change. Julie, any comments?
Well, the only comment I had was that this is outdoor and it's amplified. Are we gonna have any discussion on that, or?
We can.
I'm just wondering, and I know that they're not in Harwich Port, so just, we have, just confirming that we have other entertainment businesses with amplified outdoor music, just to make sure we're being fair.
Larry, comments on?
And, well, and to, Julie, to your point, I think we've tried to be careful that we don't necessarily have the same standard town-wide.
Right.
Because not all the towns, not all areas, and Belmont's not they have abutting neighbors is a problem, so
I
I'm
agree.
okay with
I
it.
just want to
To
raise it
point
publicly.
it out, yeah.
Exactly.
Good.
I don't have a problem
That's
with
my
that. I'm
only,
just publicly stating that there's a reason
Good
that
point.
it would be amplified because it's not in
Yeah.
Harwich.
I have nothing else.
That's it. Don?
Yeah, further to what Julian said, the zoning's completely different in the area. If they earn their way into a change next year, I'm all up for it.
Right.
Mary?
I agree, and they had that last year, and I don't recall any complaints in that neck of the woods, so I think we're good.
Chief? I probably should have done this before, but you're here, so I should be asking for your opinion.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the question is, have we had complaints at the Beach Club there?
I think that more broadly, do you have any problems with us issuing this permit with amplification 2 days a week from 5:30 to 10?
No, absolutely not. I think staying standard on the 10 PM time is correct, because that's what's in the regs.
Thank you. Any further discussion from the board?
No.
A roll call vote, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And Julie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to approve the 2022 seasonal entertainment license renewal for Weequassett Inn, LLP, DBA Weequassett Resort and Golf Club, 2173 Route 28. Requesting weekdays 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. inside and 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. outside. Sunday, 1 p.m. to 12 a.m. inside and 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. outside.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion from the board. Don?
Yeah, well, their outside is really quasi-inside. I mean, they've got the canopy, and, the patio deck overlooking Pleasant Bay. So I can't imagine that there's going to be a problem, and I don't think there have been problems.
Thank you. Larry?
I'm okay with it.
Julie?
I'm fine. They're actually looking for one less hour.
Mary?
I'm all set.
Roll call. Anyone else wish to comment on this one? Roll call vote. Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Do you want a motion on old business?
We will go to, why don't we,
We're still not 6:30.
yeah, why don't we, that's not a public hearing, so we're all right on that one. Treasure chest, last time they were here, we had some.
Michael, can I ask you to, I see our chair Ellie is not, I told her, it's my fault. I told her to expect about 6:30.
Okay, we will
Can we
blame
come
you.
back,
We'll bring,
as you should.
we'll bring this one back. B, discussion possible vote on second date for LPC, Local Planning Committee, additional member interviews. All of the members could not be interviewed April 2nd. So we're looking for a second date, a follow-up date, to be able to interview the rest.
How many do we need?
Joe, do we know how many? I believe it was a half a dozen, but I can't.
I would say it's no more than that.
No more than a half dozen. So we could do it on a Monday evening, start the meeting early, or we could do it at a standalone meeting.
I'd vote for Monday, because we're here anyway.
Don?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I agree.
And this 5 o'clock thing really works for me.
Speak for yourself.
You and Julie can draw straws. I'll go with you. It doesn't matter to me.
I thought he meant 5 a.m.
So are we good for a Monday night at an hour prior to our meeting
Yeah.
and allow for 15 minutes an interview?
Yep.
Joe, that's good?
So noted.
You don't need a motion on that, do you? Okay, discussion and possible vote to approve committee appointments recommended by the interview committee. Sandy McClarty, Planning Board, full member, term expire on June 30, 2022. Don, you asked for this one to be brought back?
Yep, I got some remarks, which you can rule out of order, but then I'll use my time as this selectman's report to say them.
Do you want to do this as a positive motion first, or you just want to get right into your
I
script?
want to get right into the script
ahead.
because it ends with that motion. Okay. The purpose of a volunteer regulatory board is to apply bylaws and general bylaws, applying reasonable judgment to the request before them. It is certainly not to rubber stamp an expert staff decision. If everything was so self-apparent, the legislature would never have required the establishment of such boards. Moreover, towns can and do wish to revisit their zoning from time to time. And this endeavor is not aimed solely to better facilitate further development. It may also revolve around protecting what the public deems important to protect. But that would require at least some divergence of opinion. Personally, I'm not trying to find loopholes myself to allow projects to get approvals. And likewise, I'm not in favor of revoking people's property rights. I just wanted to make that clear. But I can't see with a select board, which I've come to view as largely pro-growth, that I would have even had a chance of being appointed myself today. I was deeply involved with the adoption of the Six Ponds DCPC protection as it was formulated in the late 90s, and the local comprehensive plan, which the current town planner has derisively characterized publicly as a cut-and-paste job off the regional policy plan. Although I'm not sure that would have been a bad thing, given that the plan at the time was indeed trying to address runaway growth. There are other examples, but those two examples should have disqualified me from appointment by this board. The simple fact is that the most easy-to-develop properties have already been built upon. So we cling to finding frontage from ancient ways, more so than any other Cape Town, and explore the possibilities of generally building more dwellings on smaller parcels as if growing bigger will solve our problems, like it clearly hasn't in cities across the United States. Obviously, we're not going to resolve that divide here tonight, but Harwich is a diverse community and deserves diverse membership on its regulatory boards. As to this particular proposed appointment, I have some specific observations. I was actually at the June Planning Board meeting when our chair, which our chair referenced some meetings ago. I could see the action before the cameras were on and was not limited by the camera views once it was underway. Let's just say that it wasn't one of our finest moments for some in the crowd, some on the planning board, and even the town planner. Tempers were understandably high as an applicant who had illegally widened an old dirt supposed town way seemed to be on the brink of being rewarded by allowing him to build on this newly widened road. In fact, members were even told that they had to approve it if it was in compliance as it stood there that day. I know I'm going off a little off track, but I wanted to get my take on that part. Now I want to get to the part that really upsets me before I do the motion. I can't say that I've ever been so ashamed of being on a board of selectmen. We were called, I believe that the chair treated this person like a schoolyard bully, even bringing up criminal charges publicly, charges which were retaliatory after the fact and for which there is a reliable witness who can rebut them. Our chair knew all this and chose to smear someone publicly to achieve this goal. And make no mistake about it, he has done such things in the past, both in public and in private. I know he's threatened in my presence to fire a number of people who already are serving on town committees, accusing them of being disloyal to the town, to him, or both. When is there somebody who's going to stand up and say enough is enough? We can't easily recruit new volunteers if this is the route we pursue. I think we should have apologized weeks ago for the way that was handled. So if I may be getting ostracized for even having brought this up, but so be it. I end by saying the town is made up of people, and the rules are there to serve those people, not the other way around. If we seek to appoint only like-minded people or ones who we feel can remain obedient, we ourselves are not serving the community well. We have a committee opening, and that opening is only there for 90 days to run the term. This isn't much of a gamble. I therefore move to appoint Sandy McClarty to the Planning Board for a term to expire June 30th, 2022.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion from the board? Mary?
I had things I was prepared to state, but I have to open with, I am extremely disappointed that you wouldn't have had that conversation privately with our chairman. But I'm going to put that aside because I think that was incredibly inappropriate. In regards to the issue, and most of what you had to say had very little to say about the planning appointment. Oh, sorry. I was quite surprised to originally see this appointment on the agenda. I don't know Sandy well. I know he and his wife a little bit, and I respect their right to their opinion and their right to express the opinion. But they've made it very clear to me, not knowing them, that they are dead set against any kind of development. And I just find this appointment inappropriate out of fairness to the people that are bringing a project forward to have it voted yay or nay, to know that you've got one vote that's going to be no, no matter what. I had suggested to both Larry and Don that they reach out to Sandy and see if he'd be willing to be on another committee where that's not a conflict. We've got finance openings, we've got, I think historical has openings, I'm sure there's others that have openings. So that's my piece on it. It has nothing to do with trying to keep everyone into my opinion. It has to do with fairness to the applicants coming to that board for an unbiased opinion.
Thank you, Mary. Julie?
So, similar to Mary, when I saw that on the agenda, I was confused as well, because I'm capable of making my own decision in terms of the interview committee coming and bringing us a recommendation. Your job as the interview committee is to make a recommendation to the board. It's up to each board member to vote how they feel about that. So, having said that, I would also say that I too am disappointed by the comments. I'm also disappointed in the sense that, and we've had this conversation before, the charter explicitly states what the role of the interview committee is, and then goes on to tell us as selectmen what our roles are in functioning on a daily basis for the town. And my understanding is that we are not to be constantly contacting department heads, especially in the sense of looking for information or to badger them. So not only are we watching our planning director, who's not the person on the agenda really here, but you're implying that each member of this board has some sort of bias towards the person being recommended. I have no problem with Sandy or Clara McCarty. Actually, McClarty, I applaud them for the hard work that they do, and they put a lot of time and effort into it. But exactly to that point, they have made it quite clear where they stand. And on many occasions, they have not only made it clear where they stand, but they anticipate that they have all of the information. That's a problem for me, because the planning board, just like the zoning board, is a board making regulatory decisions or recommendations. And if you are going into such a board feeling that you already know the answer, then that's a problem, because you should be there to listen, to apply the rules and the regs the way you should. You should not anticipate or enter with a preconceived notion or opinion, and that is my problem. Thank you.
Larry?
Thank you, Michael. I voted, Don and I voted for this first, and Don's right, short term. I've gone back and reviewed the tape that I think Michael referred to and Don referred to. And, I think, Michael, your comments a bit over the top. I'm not going to discuss that. My concern, and I also went back and listened to some other Pleasant Bay watershed meetings that Sandy was involved in and back through history. And my difficulty is, and I'm going to change my vote, is that we want a diverse of opinion. In fact, I know I specifically talked to Sandy at the time, is that's fair, but would you pay attention to the regulations, what their authority is? And what their responsibility is to consider the planning applicants coming in light of what the regulations are and what their town is. And we have pro-growth and we have anti-growth. And I'm not sure, and when I reviewed with the statements that I could, that Sandy would actually do that, even though we quizzed him on it. And then that leads to a problem I get into, is that planning, as conservation as well has, they have timelines. So they don't take action for a specific time. The motion carries if nothing happens. And some of these you can play the game, and you could hold this up forever so there's no vote if they were so adamant, and it would pass without a good discussion and a vote, and that bothered me as well. And so I'm going to change on that. And I think there's other and they work hard, and they're diligent. I just need respectful and open discussions going forward. And we all come with our biases, and I expect them to take that forward. But you have to also bend at the end of the day if that's what the committee wants.
Thank you, Larry. I'll keep my comments brief, and I would just say that the difference between Selectman Howell and myself is I do everything at this table. And his alleged comments about me, which are just strictly alleged, I could go on and on for weeks about Selectman Howell and what he does in the background. His backdoor politics are not like no one else I've ever encountered in my life. And again, I do it at the table to a detriment. But everything that we discuss here. And Don, I can point to people as recent as 3 months ago that you withheld off of committees for your own personal reasons, that other selectmen approached me and wanted it on the agenda. So you can play this game and stand on your soapbox if you want. It's clearly, it's interesting as far as timing goes, since this was 4 weeks ago, and that you've been running around with a script for 4 weeks telling residents that were willing to listen exactly what was in your script, because I heard all that before tonight, as well as being tried and convicted on social media. Going as far as to telling residents to stay for the entire length of the meeting so that they could hear your rant. It's disgusting, Don. You've worked your way through every single selectman. So coming from any other selectman, it might matter to me. Coming from you, it means nothing. Because every single selectman, for the entire time I've been on here, you've had a personal attack on. And I'll close with, it goes as far, Don, as dialing for clerks. You and the Charter Review Committee sat in your meeting room and dialed to try and find clerks to run against somebody that you have an opinion on. And dialing for selectmen, calling and pushing people to run for my spot. So it was interesting that you waited until after I pulled my papers, and now after I turned them in, to go on your rant. And I'd leave it at that, and I would call for a vote. And I will do roll call vote. Larry?
Remind me what we're voting on.
We're voting, Don made a positive motion
I'm-
to appoint Sandy to the
Yep.
planning committee.
I'm nay.
Julie?
No.
Mary?
No.
Don? And I'm a nay.
I see, not to pick on Ellie, but we can go to treasure chest now, so.
All right.
She's,
I'm ready.
and we got ahead of schedule, and I said, my fault, I said 6:30,
So
so.
what does that put us back to? Treasure chest?
We're going to go back to treasure chest,
chest,
yeah.
okay.
And we won't even start with a motion. We'll start there with some
Okay,
questions from the
all right.
board. So we'll start and then
Thanks.
see what action they want us to take. So we will call on the treasure chest, and you can do the podium or you can do the seat in front of us.
Do the podium.
You're not late. Larry was really early.
I'm gonna take
15
my
minutes early.
watch with you. Well, good evening. My name's Ellie Gerson, and I'm the vice chair of the Treasure Chest Committee. And I want to thank you for welcoming us back and giving us this opportunity to come before you. Last month, you recommended we return to see you with a few changes in some of our documents. Our goal is to open the treasure chest by the end of April, if possible. So to that end, we met and put some further language into item number 11 on our operational guidelines. And the language that we added says that the committee is responsible for implementing consequences when shift supervisors bring issues to the committee. So that was the article about volunteers using their discretion and taking a limited number of donated items at the end of their shifts. So that was the first item that I'm back to you with. The second is that I know now you have in your hands a document, something put in writing from the DPW that indicates their interest in using the building year-round, seasonal, whatever. So that should be in your possession. And then finally, just our support for whatever you decide on a sticker or a sticker fee, whatever.
Thank you.
So for that,
Larry?
The committees, thank you, Ellie, I'm sorry to put you on the
That's
spot. We went faster than I thought.
I'm glad.
what the committee did was try to address, there was just a couple specific comments of the last time. The first one I already spoken to are consequences, and they do sign the agreement. They've said in the document that they're allowed to pick something up at the end of the shift. That, I think, Don, you made the point that it wasn't clear before, the beginning and end, so they're changing that part of the document, so it's the end of the shift. The committee before had in their document that they would meet quarterly or more often if necessary. They've agreed to meet monthly because the committee just wants to keep track of how the volunteers are doing, that the shift is working. And so they're taking this, basically for volunteer committee, they've taken another step to be responsible for how the treasure chest is running. Link has got back to us and said that we worked, and I know I pressed again and talked to Link, I think as some others did, could he use it half-time, because that was our original compromise. And Link is in his memo, and I know me on the phone that he didn't think it was worthwhile setting up and tearing apart. It was half year round. He was better off running a year, so that works. Last year, well, time flies. 2 years ago, when we first went to stickers, the committee came to us, us being the Board of Selectmen, and suggested a $5 fee for stickers. I know at that time I voted against it because I figured this was to help people. How could we charge them $5? The committee, as Ellie says, has discussed that again, and it's our decision. It's not theirs, but their coming was a recommendation for $5, thinking that would help pay for the sticker charge when we're watching the budget, in that even though we're helping those that in some cases are disadvantaged, although I don't consider myself that, and my grandkids love to go there, but that's a side point, that there are very few, even that are disadvantaged, who cannot pay $5 to help the cost, and maybe put more responsibility that the sticker is important to them. So they're coming to us again with our recommendation, and that's, of course, our call, Board of Selectmen, so that's our debate, not theirs. But I would hope that we'd have a motion to move ahead. They've inspected the building, and it's in good shape. But they do have to spend some time moving furniture around, tables around, and doing some odds and ends. So they're already gearing up for volunteers that are, and we'll take more volunteers that help move tables. So that's where they've done incredible. They've done a lot of work, a lot of discussion, and I'm proud to be not to be active, but I listen to them a lot. So I'm a good listener.
Thank you, Larry. Yeah. Julie, comments?
I don't have any comments. I know what a treasure it is to the town, and so I think everybody would look forward to it being back open. And if $5 is a nominal fee, I guess the only question I would have on the stickers is, where will they be available for people to buy them, et cetera?
I'm looking at Cindy. I think in the past, excuse me for interrupting, we sell them at Town Hall, but we also sell beef stickers and so on at the Chamber office. And I assume, Cindy, you can do that again. And thank you for bringing that up, because that is a discussion that the committee went over, is what happens if someone comes over on a Saturday morning and is turned away because of no sticker? Well, Cindy, in the summer, you're open most 7 days a week, so I think that's not a very good excuse.
Cindy?
I'm sorry, Cindy.
Oh, all right.
So, yes, Larry, the Chamber will be starting sticker sales June 1st, and whatever stickers we come up with, we'll sell. So, yes, they will be available 7 days a week.
Thank you, Cindy.
Mary?
I think that's great. The question I get asked the most is, when is the treasure chest opening? So I will be happy to be able to tell people, sounds like the end of April. Do you have an actual date, or is that us to do the date?
I think the 28th is a Saturday, so that was
No,
hoping
30th.
that
The 30th is a Saturday.
30th, sorry.
And I think the $5 sticker will help you with traffic, because people would carpool. If a couple of people don't want to spend $5, but they go together, it's $2.50 each. I think you'll solve some of your own issues. So kudos to the team.
Don?
Just waiting for a motion from Larry. Yep, I'm all in favor of this.
Okay, before you go to a motion, Joe, just procedurally, because it's a fee adjustment to the DPW's fees, I would guess, do we have to have a public hearing on that? Is it an advertised public hearing, or can we make that motion tonight and approve it tonight without a public hearing?
So I'd have to check your policy on fees. I can do that in just a moment. My question or concern would simply be the stickers you've talked about. I'm not aware that there's an inventory of them yet, so the town would have to come up with a design, a vendor, and make sure that we have a funding source to get them, and I don't know what the turnaround would be. But in the meantime, if you want to continue the discussion, I'll look up the policy procedure.
Thank you.
Okay.
And there was stickers last year, correct? I mean, 2 years ago.
Well,
was
before we
2 years
closed.
ago,
Did
They
they
were-
have a date on them, do you remember?
We-
They did have a date on them?
It was by every yearly, and it was different
Yeah,
different
okay.
color.
Thank you. Don, questions related to what I just said? You're very familiar with fees. Is there,
Yeah, I think it's fine. $5 would be a sustainable fee for the actual cost of,
can we do it without a public hearing?
A fee.
yeah, I think we can,
Okay.
at least at this level. I mean, we're not talking about, something massive.
Well, either way, we're going to have to get back next Monday from Joe what he mentioned about who we're going to get the stickers from, what they're going to cost, and where we're going to pay for them.
And also, there won't be stickers available April 30th. And if you could guide us through handling that.
Right. We'll send Larry over.
Red.
Well, what I'd like to do then
Larry,
is,
go ahead and make a motion.
I move that we reopen the treasure chest starting April 30th.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded.
And prepare getting
And,
decals.
and prepare, and do what? Prepare for stickers?
And prepare for stickers for
And prepare
entry.
for stickers.
I think we could take that as
We
a
can take a separate motion,
That way,
this comes
if we
back.
have to come
Okay.
back with a fee schedule, we're only
This-
undoing half of it.
At least it's open so they can plan and get things started.
Yeah. So the motion is to reopen on the
30th,
30th.
Hallelujah.
Right.
And it's been seconded
yes.
by who?
Mary.
Mary?
Mary.
Okay. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Wow.
Do you wanna do a motion on the
Can-
stickers, understanding that we might have to
I-
come back?
I move that we issue stickers for the resident-only attendance to the treasure chest at the cost of $5.
That's good.
Pending that's enough.
Yeah, that's good. We
Second.
can-
Second.
Okay.
Red.
Moved and seconded by Don to approve a sticker at $5. Any discussion? Mary?
Just one thought, and I don't, this probably doesn't have to be in the motion, but could we have some kind of a grace period of, 6 weeks that they don't need a sticker to just get us by that?
This, why don't we wait and see if we have stickers or not?
Okay,
If we have stickers, I would say, why wait?
why not get the $5? Yep, okay.
Okay, moved and seconded, no further discussion. Don, roll call vote?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Joe, did you find anything?
So I did, and I'll read it and leave it to the board to interpret, but there is a policy that was enacted in 1994 that was reaffirmed in January of 2009 and amended in August of 2009. And it says that changes in the rules, regulations, and/or fees by any board, commission, or committee shall be presented to the Board of Selectmen for final adoption. All such proposed changes shall be presented at an open public meeting. The changes to be considered, along with the time and place of the meeting, shall be advertised in a newspaper of general circulation designated for legal notice by the Board of Selectmen and posted on the town website at least 2 weeks, parentheses, 14 days prior to the public meeting.
We can wait then.
Don?
Why don't we just wait because we've approved the opening, so it's just a question of the logistics of getting this thing up and running.
So the stickers, we would advertise a public hearing.
Yep.
We can continue
Just
on
the
what
fee,
we're doing.
yeah.
I'm okay with that, and then
And then
we
Larry
know
will,
where we're going with it, so we can order the stickers and get it in
and then
place.
Larry will work with you
Thank
at the gate to make sure the residents only until we get the stickers.
Do we need to withdraw?
I'm taking you with me,
motions?
Sharon.
We're good.
No? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Sharon in the back row, she's giving me a rough
All
time.
right, Joe, you got that? That was a 5-0 also?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie, and thank you, the rest of you.
Thank you.
Monomoy,
Where are we?
we're at D, 8D,
Monomoy just walked in the door.
okay.
B, we
8D, I think is where we are.
Okay. Yeah, why don't we, why don't we go on to E and we'll
Okay.
pause and go back, so.
Okay,
Discussion possible on all articles in the draft warrant as well as prospective articles, 2022 annual town meeting warrant. So Mary, why don't we just start with motions on getting them in there and accepting and adopting the ones we haven't, and then we'll break when Monomoy is ready.
okay.
Michael, before we start that, could I ask just some, I guess, procedure, maybe some clarification of the town warrants and the standalone warrant articles? What's the,
Go ahead, Larry.
well, I'm just some background on why we're, the two approaches. I think it'd be good for all of us and people watching us.
Two approaches.
Well, I don't remember us having standalone articles before.
Joe?
So the desire or the hope this evening is if these are articles that the board has not yet previously considered, it's going to be easier from a staff editing standpoint to add to rather than take out from. And so that's the point of the standalones, is to make sure that the board's aware that you haven't discussed them fully, you haven't voted to add them. So if you want to add it, we can insert it in a certain place rather than try to remove it from the draft.
Okay. Thank you.
I hope
Yeah,
that helps.
I thought it'd be good to get a philosophical approach to this.
Oh, public hearing. Is he on there? I see Christian down. Christian, is that you?
You have to be 4 minutes patient.
If you here. Okay, Christian, you're on there. All right, we're gonna, we'll start that public hearing. Actually, we gotta wait 3 minutes, so we'll get back to you.
Okay.
It's advertised for 6:30. We can't start before that. So maybe we'll get through a couple articles anyway.
Okay.
John, did you have any questions besides that? Thank you.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on elected officials' salaries.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Have we have already put that one in the warrant.
We have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the motion is to accept and adopt. By doing so, we're saying we are supporting.
Do I need
And,
to read
any
it?
discussion?
Do I need to read all the numbers?
Yeah, read it.
Okay, selectmen, $2,400 each, moderator, $1,000, water and wastewater commissioners, $1,000 each, library trustees, $1,000 each, and the town clerk, $83,484.
Okay, Don?
It just, out of curiosity, it doesn't matter who gets elected, but the clerk, but none of them seem like, at least the people who pulled papers, that are master clerks or anything. We had the discussion at town meeting that what Anita was getting was a top-level pay. I mean, do we want that to say up to 83,000 or subject to negotiation? Or-
Joe?
So the town in the past has referred to the town clerk, which is an elected, non-employee position, but is allowed under the laws to draw a salary. So the town has, in the past, placed that in the personnel bylaws compensation and classification table. And that's not proper, so what we do now is we refer to the equivalency for the town clerk. So whether it was in the table or if we now recognize it as an equivalency because it's not an employee, that's the equivalent of the M5 step within the personnel compensation and classification plan. To Selectman Howell's point, the retired town clerk had worked through the equivalency of the 10 steps and had been placed at the top step for at least 3 years, I believe.
Might have even been
And so my understanding and my effort in setting this salary was to again have it to be the equivalent of an M5 in the personnel bylaws, and that's what you see there. That's the M5 step 1. Now, I can also tell you that in other towns, because towns often struggle with how do you pay an elected official who looks like an employee and acts like an employee but is not an employee. And in other municipalities, and I'm familiar with this as a former clerk, what they've done is they've said you've established the equivalency, and then you may want to go up the steps year over year. So the town in future years can go step by step, the town could make it the equivalent of step-by-step, or do say a 1-5-10, whatever the case may be. But in any event, this salary has been established to be the equivalency of the M5 Step 1 rate.
Don, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have a horse in the race. I'm just pointing out that the town meeting had that discussion, and I don't know where we wanted to go with it. So I'm okay with approving this. It's just,
Mary?
I just
You
don't
see there
even know
that
who would negotiate it where it's an elected position.
well, town meeting would have to authorize whatever that level is in their mind.
And it
But
can
then-
be amended at town meeting as well.
But who would negotiate it? And how would you
You
do
haven't been on
that?
town meeting floor when they've talked
Yeah.
about things like this. I think we went on for what, about 45 minutes when we were talking about the change in compensation for Anita?
Yeah, we did.
Well,
It was
is-
a long
Go
discussion.
ahead, Julie.
Is it easier to do a range so that this, unless you think that that will be, I understand where you're coming
Yeah.
from. So I'm just wondering, do you do a range? Is that, but you're saying this is the amount that we've established?
No, what I'm saying is, we're basing it on the equivalency of a range. It's the equivalency of a management 5, steps 1 through 10. This is the opening step. That allows the town to have a certain number that is then incorporated into the motion and the article, and we can proceed from there. What the board does with it, or town meeting, is open to both the board and town meeting. One of the things that I wanted to try and resolve, as a former elected town clerk in another municipality, there was nothing worse than knowing that, yes, you're gonna draw a salary, but no, you have no idea what it's going to be. And so what I'm talking about is a practice that I was aware of, even before I became a clerk. So this is going back 25 years. I can tell you that our temporary town clerk is familiar with that process. I'm familiar with it as a former elected town clerk in another town. And I do know that other towns with elected clerks use a similar. So it's meant to be that range. The question really then just becomes, where do we settle on the range?
Okay.
And so for me, I thought it appropriate, as we do with many other positions, you start them on the equivalent of the first step.
Thank you, yeah.
Michael's right, we could
Makes
amend
sense
it
to
on
me.
the floor, or somebody could.
Yeah.
Larry?
So I'm trying to follow this. So this number, does this bind us to this number when we actually hire someone or advertise it?
You don't advertise it, it's an election.
Advertise it, elected official, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But does it bind it, it binds us to this number?
Well, technically, no, it does not. This, what will happen is, town meeting will vote to establish the salaries for elected officials as the article contemplates. I can tell you, if I'm asked where this number came from, I will say, hopefully precisely what I've said this evening, and that
Yeah,
is
don't
the
repeat it for me,
equivalency.
thanks, yeah.
But,
Okay, Joe, that's enough.
all right, thank you.
And Larry, you're not getting.
I think
raised.
Joe put some thought into how this was on here, and we let town meeting decide.
Yeah.
That's my own. So if nobody wants to make a motion to change it, I think we have a motion and a second
Yeah.
to elect elected official salaries. Further discussion?
No,
No.
It's for accept and adopt, right?
This
Yeah.
one is to accept and
Yes.
adopt, yeah. And then I'll go to you, Larry, roll call?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, was there a second?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Julie?
aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
The next one is the budget, but
And I
there's
would
no
move on from
numbers,
that.
so we're gonna skip
Yeah,
that,
I would
right?
move on. We'll talk about that if we make any more adjustments.
Same with the next one. There's no, it's not all filled in. So I think we're on
Chairman,
the
if I
page.
could offer, before you get too deep, you've passed the bewitching hour of 6:30
Okay.
if you wanted to get into any hearings.
Okay,
Oh,
we will do
wanna
that.
do that?
So Mary, I hate to do it to you, you've been reading a lot. You can please reread the
Reread the
public
hearing notice? Okay. Town of Harwich, public hearing notice, application for change of stock, change of ownership interest, change of DBA, and change of officers. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of the general laws as amended, that application has been made to the Board of Selectmen by WFS Restaurant Group, Inc., DBA Alouette, located at 787 Route 28, Harwich Port, Mass., 02646 for a change of stock and change of ownership interest. The Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing upon this application on Monday, March 28th, 2022, no earlier than 6:30 p.m. in the Don B. Griffin Room at Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, at which time all interested parties will be heard. Signed by the Board of Selectmen, Local Licensing Authority, and published in the Cape Cod Times, March 16th, 2022.
Okay, public hearing is open. I know the applicant, Kristen Schultz, is online. The board all has the application. I will go to the public first, unless, Kristen, you want to add anything that's to your application or speak to the board.
No, I believe everything's pretty straightforward, Mike.
Thank you. Anyone in the public wish to comment on this? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to close the public hearing. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. And now we are on to board deliberation. Don, any questions or comments?
Since Christian's on the line, so essentially you sold the company to yourself in a different form, right? Is that what's happening?
And my father passed away. And I just, the stock all went to me.
Okay, but you're the same, you were on the license as the manager.
Yeah, everything was the same. I was the sole person on the license, just as far as stock ownership. And, my father was the president and he was 75% stock owner. I was 25. After he passed, it went to me. So we're just making these changes.
Yep, the DBA is totally up to whoever it is that's operating. I don't care.
Okay, Mary?
Just that I'm very sad to lose Alouette in that fabulous swordfish, but I respect your business
Well, thank you.
decision.
Barbecue's great. Julie?
No, I just wish you the best with all of it.
Larry?
Well, I'm different from Mary. There's always room for more barbecue restaurants. And they're top of my list, and so I shall be there.
I have no comments. Can I get a motion on this to approve as presented?
I move that we approve this as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve. Joe?
You should do each item individually.
Motion for each one?
Thank you. And they agree.
Is
I
that a
move that we
barbecue coming?
vote.
Future barbecue.
I move that we vote to change the DBA from Alouette to Red River Barbecue.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to change the stock
As presented.
as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to change the ownership interest as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to change the officers as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Christian, you are approved. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back to motion.
Okay. I think the ones on Monomoy,
I think Monomoy's here, I think.
Yeah, why don't we wait on
Yeah, wait
Monomoy?
on-
Skulking about in the hallway.
Yeah.
okay. Then let's go to page 14. I move that we vote to accept and adopt the Water Department budget.
The amount of-
Oh, in the amount of $4,255,954.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion on this. Start with the board. Larry?
None.
Julie?
None.
Mary?
None.
Don?
Nope.
I have nothing. John? You're all set on this one?
I just got a question after.
Okay. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. John, go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Michael, for recognizing me. John Chory, Chair of the Finance Committee. I just want to ask just a couple questions. I know we're going to try to get through, one of the questions is through all the warrants tonight, right?
Gonna try.
Oh, I applaud that, because we have to vote ourselves tomorrow night and Thursday night. And our famous town administrator, I've only got 4 days to get your written recommendations. I noticed we're on the fourth revision of warrants right now, according to my records. The three, and this is a comment, you can answer how you may, but there's three prior revisions that carried at least two of the full-time positions in the warrants, one meaning the Cultural Affairs Director and one for the Housing Advocate. This fourth one, which we received, I just saw Sunday, those have been removed. And I would like to see them put back in. And the reason for that is because I'd like for the townspeople to see the full-time positions that are being proposed. I know there's 4 being proposed. The other 2 is the health agent, and the other one is the council on aging agent. It's up to you, but the ones I've seen in the 3 previous drafts have been the housing advocate and the cultural director. And I'd like those to be in because there has been precedent set in past town meetings where full-time positions have been in there for the town to fully understand them and see what they're voting on. Because where these housing advocate and the cultural director, it's in the town administrator's budget. Very hard to see unless you really study this budget. You would never pick up that those are in that budget. And I think the cultural center is a very topical topic, and I just want to get full opency and transparency, which are the common words we hear now, to see those in the warrant. It's up. I know it's your warrant. You can decide, but I'd like to see those 2 positions at least put in there. If you want to put in all 4, I'm fine with that also. So that's my only comment there. And then the other one on that is the housing advocate. I know it's being proposed as a full-time position, but there's also a CPC article in there, $50,000 for a part-time, which is the traditional housing advocate position. And just wondering how that's handled. If the full-time is approved first, and there's a CPC drop off, or there may be some people that want still to go forward with the part-time position. And of course, I know we're in a budget crunch, if you want to call it that, is bringing on full-time heads now. Not only is it a full-time head salary, but there's benefits associated with those costs. And it might be a way to save some money there by just going with a part-time person, housing advocate, and not having the full-time position. Totally up to you, but I just wanted to see what you thought on that as we get to those or somewhere in the budget. So thank you, Michael.
And John, just to clarify, that speech, not speech, but what you just said was you as a resident, not
Okay.
a voted position of the Finance Committee. I may be wrong, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, that's perfectly all right.
that's
Yeah,
your
I always get mixed up of how to
I understand. I
address
just wanna
myself,
clarify.
but
John, I wrote those down.
okay.
As we get further on into the night, we'll bring this back
Yeah.
for the board to discuss.
And I hope we can get through them all tonight. That
We're trying.
would be my
Yeah.
a golden objective. Thank you very much.
All right. Mary, you're at a stopping point. I'm gonna,
Yes.
Monomoy's here, rather
Yep.
than keep them all night, we'll get Monomoy up here so that they can all head home. Whoever wants to join us at the table can join us at the table. And we're gonna start with the budget, and then we will move on to the article after the budget. So right now, we are talking about the Monomoy Regional School District assessment of $28,004,120.05. Wow, we have a full table tonight.
Good evening.
Let's just start with names for the record.
I'm Meredith Henderson, the chair of the Monomoy Regional School Committee. Tina Games, Monomoy, Harwich member, former chair.
I'm Michael McMillan, I'm the school business manager.
Scott Carpenter, superintendent. Excellent, thank you. On the budget, we had you here not long ago. Michael and Scott were here. Why don't we just open this up for, rather than get back into it, questions and comments from the board. Board, tonight we're being asked, I'll start with you. You all left, you left last time and went back to the school committee, and we were looking for some budget cuts. Is there anything to announce tonight? I think I know the answer, but is there anything to announce?
Well, I just wanted to share that last week after that combined meeting, we did have a conversation as a committee about increasing the E&D contribution to the budget. However, the consensus to do so was not there across the whole committee, because we truly believe that this is a very well-vetted budget, especially after we added extra steps this year, bringing in the budget workshop and really looking at the needs of our district across both towns. So that's where we stand.
Thank you. Now I'll go to questions and comments from the board. Larry?
No, at this point, you know, we talked, $42 million is a large budget. And that, and we, you know, we compete with our town employees in our own budget to fund that. So I'm disappointed you weren't able to come back with some. I don't want to keep fighting this battle. What I really want to do now is be sure that we have all the resources and power in front of us to change the agreement. So we work that out. And hopefully, and we have different opinion. I tend to be optimistic that we can get that done. But I have no, and Michael's not, but I have no basis for my optimism, quite frankly. Except I'm trusting that we'll do all we can to at least get that through.
Thank you, Larry. Julie?
Thank you for coming back again. And I appreciate that you did go back to try to see what you could do. I had some specific questions, and I appreciate that they were vetted. And I understand the predicament you're in. And to that point, I just want to make it clear to you and to the public that never, and I can't speak for the board, but, you know, asking those questions and trying to see if there was any wiggle room was really geared to the same problems we're having in terms of our budget and looking wherever we can to help support our department. So I just want to be clear that it's not to not fund the schools, because, you know, we have great schools and they're doing a fantastic job. So I just want to say that, to say clearly that was not my motivation. I understand that you've gone back. I understand there's not a consensus. I understand you're in a difficult position, as are we. So, you know, I'm ready to move forward, and let's just get it done.
Thank you, Julie. Mary?
I can never talk to the school without saying how much I appreciate what you do and the fact that we have excellent schools. There is no doubt in my mind that is true. I am, however, still very disappointed that you couldn't make any movement. And I know, I absolutely know in my soul that there is some place that you could have made some movement. But I am not willing to risk the amendment to the charter. So I am extremely reluctantly going to vote for this budget. But I would just really like you to keep that in mind next year. We cannot continue on this path. So that's my, and I'd also like to thank Tina for reaching out, giving me a call. We had a great conversation. Really appreciated that, Tina. That's all.
Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sort of where Mary is. I mean, because it's essentially an allocation problem as much as anything else. It's more than it is just a budget problem. No matter what we do, I think it's really important for the public to know, so that we don't come back in 2 years and ask for some more fundamental changes in the agreement. I don't want to hear anybody saying, enough is enough. Didn't you guys already get something out of, you asked for an amendment 2 years ago. They have to have an understanding, and we all have to participate in that this would be a necessary first step, but the overall agreement, and you don't do that kind of thing in the back of an envelope. The overall agreement has to be vetted, because the suppositions that caused it to be codified as it exists now don't exist that way anymore. I mean, the size of the population that's being contributed by Harwich compared to Chatham is radically different than the presupposition was about how this would look when we set up a region. The public needs to know that this is an ongoing process, that we get the approval at town meeting for this change, which allows us to have the relief we need. And again, I think that's come off wrong in the newspaper to a certain degree. It's not that we need relief, it's that the way this allocation is going because of the 75-25, it's insane, and it's really bad at the elementary school level, more so than anything else. But that was the linchpin for the agreement. Both towns were into, we keep our elementary school, you keep your elementary school, and that was actually one of the cornerstones of the whole agreement. So it would be something that you would be risking overall agreement if you started messing around with it. So this would seem to be the necessary first step that we should all get behind.
Strangely enough, I find myself agreeing with Don. But I don't mean that as an insult, Don. Meredith, thanks for your call. Great conversation. I said it last time you were here, we can't keep going in this direction. And we have not cut our budgets, but we every year are asking our department heads to come in with level budgets. I spent a lot of time in the last week calling residents that have school-age kids and getting their opinion on the budget. There was some very against it and a lot very for it. I also spent a long time reading resident Charles Garushka, if I'm not butchering his name, a lot of words and a lot of numbers. And I did follow-up call with him again. Mark Kelleher also sent something along based on what some surrounding schools were doing and what their percentage increases were, which I found very helpful also. Right. I had some, not all, and then I furthered that search after Mark's email. So I'm going to support the budget. It belongs on town meeting floor, and town meeting needs to decide if they're going to support the school budget or not. And I'm going to support it based on the feedback that I got, with a caveat that we could keep having this conversation until it fails. Sooner or later, we're going in with almost an $80 million budget this year. Sooner or later, the residents are going to vote no. And then we're all going to be left to try and figure it out. And I don't believe that's too far away, but I'm not willing to weaken the school by voting no on the budget. So, Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could I ask whether there has been legal agreement about whether the passage of both of these separate articles at town meetings would take effect in the subsequent fiscal year in '23, or whether it would be '24?
Don, if we can, I'm going to get into that in the next conversation, but for now, based on what I heard, I'd like to get a motion on, unless you disagree, get a motion to include in the warrant if we have to, but definitely accept and adopt if we haven't. If that's okay, Don?
Yeah.
I was going to immediately move on to the articles afterwards.
So it's already been placed. You did that on March 14th. The only question now is whether you accept and adopt.
So accept and adopt, Mary, including the dollar amount?
Ellen told us all of that, Joe. I
I
moved,
can't see color.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the Monomoy Regional School District budget in the amount of $28,041,205.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All right, now we're going to get into the articles, which I'm not sure is going to be as easy a conversation because there are a lot of words. Joe?
Mr. Chairman, what every member of the board should have in front of you is an updated page 12, which is meant to reflect the language that was confirmed by town council in consultation with the town and the school district. And then directly beneath that will be the document that's referred to as Appendix D. D as in David, D as in district, should have done with that one, in the warrant. So the standalone page that's numbered 12 has the confirmed language.
Is this page 12?
There was
No,
a loose one in our pile.
Oh.
Correct.
Just a single sheet.
I'll just share with them.
You can take mine if you want.
Julie, I don't know how you could find anything.
I got so much paper.
I'll share it with you. Joe, you're going to start with an explanation, right?
Certainly. So on the new page 12, what you'll see, it says amend agreement between the towns of Chatham and Harwich with respect to the formation of a regional school district. To see if the town will vote consistent with section 17 of the agreement between the towns of Chatham and Harwich with respect to the formation of a regional school district. Amend said agreement regarding the method of assessing costs for the town's elementary schools, to address the allocation of school choice funds, and to amend the budget process and the process for incurring of debt, to bring the agreement into alignment with statutory requirements as proposed by the Monomoy Regional School District Committee on March 24th, 2022, as set forth in the document included as an attachment, and that's the update. It will now read Appendix D, close parentheses, to this warrant for the 2022 annual town meeting, who to act fully thereon. And to the previous question, yes, this has been confirmed through the district, and Dr. Carpenter can speak better than I, but all the towns and agents are aware that this is satisfactory to DESI and would be in effect with fiscal year 2023.
Now, will you get into, so you answered Don's question. Can you get into our discussion today? I know you were on the phone with John and I believe Scott today. Have we come to an agreement on what the language should
Correct.
be?
The language that I just read that you'll see in the single page is the agreed upon language.
Scott, we both agree on that? Yeah. Okay.
And then, Mr. Chairman, if I could very quickly, one of the things that council has recommended, and I know the district agrees, and I believe Chatham has also agreed, is that the towns are going to have in the warrant booklet for us as Appendix D, and this is meant as we call it a side-by-side basically, but if you go through it, it highlights the net effect of all the changes and what is actually contemplated. And so council has recommended the inclusion of that in the warrant, because that way it'll be self-contained for all the voters.
Thank you. Don?
No, that's fine.
Mary?
No, so that's now the article, correct?
Julie?
No, I don't have any questions.
Larry?
Could you very briefly explain to me the next, if these pass, what are the next steps for this to take effect?
So this has been fully vetted by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's legal team.
Can we slide that mic closer?
Of course.
Yep. Please. Thank you.
So this has been vetted by DESI's legal team. So presuming it passes in both Harwich and Chatham, we would just contact the Department of Education, send them the votes, send them the confirmation that it has been passed. The commissioner would then issue a letter or statement that, that it has his sign off as well, and then it can go into fiscal effect. So, we have very deliberately been working through this to have this go into effect for FY23.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, and many of you know, we've been working on this for 2 years, and so literally, we have it lined up and ready to go. So once both town meetings and Chatham second, I mean, it's like, bing, there's the button. I mean, it's all lined up, and the intention has always been to hit FY23. So the minute that starts moving, it goes to the FY23 budget.
Thank you.
Yeah, and could I ask Michael a follow-up question? Joe, from your perspective, how do we handle that internally when the budget changes at that point?
So I would say it's rather simple for the town of Harwich. What you voted just a moment ago is the present assessment. And so if the town adopts the changes to the district and then Chatham changes it, the town has more money than we need for the assessment. And what council's recommending is that we may contemplate at a special town meeting in the fall to remove the extra money, if you will, by vote of town meeting and take it off of the rolls. So for us, we're going in with the current number, and if it changes based on the amendment, we have relief, if you will, in Harwich, and so we're all set. I believe town of Chatham is on Saturday, May 14th, and they would have to contemplate either the current number or the adjusted number. But for Harwich, it's pretty straightforward.
Do you mind if I make a comment? Yeah. And just so you know, we have 4 Chatham colleagues, and I've been involved when I was the chair last year in a lot of conversations with the Chatham Select Board. And the consensus, or at least what I'm hearing from everybody, is they're very committed. They want to keep their elementary school. And some of you might remember that we had a forum because we were proposing, let's think about the upper lower, let's think about all these configurations. That didn't fly really well among the young parents. So they've advocated to keep their elementary school, and you might have seen Chatham's Select Board last Tuesday voted unanimously to do this. You may or may not be aware that they also, on their warrant, have a 2% room tax increase. And one of those percent has been designated to pay for the elementary school. So Chatham is committed to this moving. Now, I'm not going to say that everybody at town meeting will vote yes, I don't really know, but based on conversations we've all had, there is a lot of movement and interest and motivation. They want to keep their elementary school. And based on all the conversations we've had, this is the only way we can do it.
Larry, any more?
No, that does it for me, thank you.
Julie, you're all set?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Mary?
I'm all set.
Don? Can I get a motion? And the motion would be, this would be the article, the new page 12, right, Joe?
Correct.
And I have to move first to place
In the warrant.
in the warrant the amend agreement between the towns of Chatham and Harwich with respect to the formation of a regional school district.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
And second, I move that we accept and adopt the amendment, the article amending the agreement between the towns of Chatham and Harwich with respect to the formation of a regional school district.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. We're all set?
Thank you very much. Have a good
If I could,
evening.
before our colleagues leave,
1 second, we might have one more.
so Dr. Carpenter and I talked about just what was referenced with regard to the two communities and changing the agreement. And there was a request for this board at a future meeting, as well as the Finance Committee, if they were so agreeable, that it would help if both the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee put out there that there's support for the changes to the agreement. And the same request is being made in Chatham. Having said that, I'll turn it back over to Dr. Carpenter to say it far better than I just tried.
I'll actually turn it over to Ms. Ames, because the idea originally came from her.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, it came from a community member, and I thought it was a really good one. So we've had conversations among the couple of Meredith and myself, and we're going to be presenting it on April 14th, I think our next meeting, is we thought it would be a good idea for the Chatham Select Board and the Harwich Select Board and the school committee to issue a joint statement ahead of both town committees that we're all in agreement of these amendments. And we're going to put this on our agenda April 14th, and we'll have a discussion and a vote, and we hope to be back in front of you, or maybe through Scott to Joe, to do that. Because we're all in agreement, all three boards.
Joe, can we have that on our following agenda,
Certainly.
please? Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I said before, though, if we make such a statement when it's on the agenda, I would be heartily in favor of saying that this is part of an overall process of reexamining the overall agreement.
Okay, all right, we'll add that to the conversation, yeah. Yeah, and we'll put together, I think once we get it approved on our end, we'll put together some languaging, make sure you're comfortable with it, Chatham Select Board, and then we can all come in, and maybe we can add that in there, Don.
My honest 2 cents on that is that skips past what we're trying to get done and jumps to the next level, and I'm not sure Chatham wants to have that conversation right away. So I guess we will
Yeah.
debate that when it comes forward. Though I do agree with Don, I think it's a giant hurdle to get over the elementary school first. And I think we all recognize that this progresses through the grades, but this is a giant hurdle to get over, and I think we should get over it before we move forward. Julie?
So I understand that it may be a hurdle, but I also think communication is key, and I think that we as a board and the Chatham Select Board, the school committee, all should communicate more and more, because we are in this together, and ultimately there are other hurdles that we'll face. We're going to recover from COVID for quite some time, and there are going to be other adjustments to this budget for next year and the following years for the things that have happened to the kids during this time. And some of those things are probably going to be fairly expensive, and I think it's a conversation for everybody to have. So get out in front of it and have the conversation before we're at budget time, because we all know what that's like.
Exactly. And if I,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I really want to do. I'm not specifying that there's any particular path, but just to let everybody know that there's something else that is going to happen as a discussion. This isn't the end of everything.
yeah, we'll come up with a word that we're going to continue. And let me just say this, that you may or may not know, there's an initiative in Chatham called Chatham 365. And it's something I would personally like to see over here in Harwich as well. And our young families, as we've all talked about, are getting priced out, you know, whatever, they're leaving. But these young families are committed to staying here. And so they've formed Chatham 365. They're looking at housing, they're looking at employment, they're looking at the schools. Part of the Saving the Elementary School was part of that. So I think we all have the same concerns and the same intentions. So we can figure something out that says these discussions are going to continue.
Thank you. John?
John Chory, so would you like us to, it sounds like you would like us as the Finance Committee to endorse this agreement also, right? And we can do it separately in our meeting, or is that's not another joint meeting, is it? Or?
No, it doesn't have to be a joint meeting. Just as you vote the articles, I think this board's hopes is that you would endorse it.
Okay, and if I could get a copy of that, those what Mary just read right there.
Sure can. You can have my copies.
Yep.
Thank you.
Here you go, John.
Oh, I got that, I got all that.
You got the
That,
big
the
book?
one pager.
12.
Are these the two?
He can't have it. No, he's got it right there. That's 12.
But
Yeah,
you read two
that's
different
what-
agreements, didn't you?
That's that.
That's
That-
this one.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot more words than she read. It means
That's the
same.
whole agreement, marking up what it was and what it's changing to.
I
can
think
stay
you've already
behind
seen
and
that.
read the whole thing.
Nothing, but we just vote this one or vote this one
Yeah.
also? Just this one?
Just
Oh,
that.
yeah, I've got that.
Oh, okay.
Can I give a shout out to John real quickly? John has made such an effort to really understand the school budget, and he's come to our workshops, he's come to our hearings, he's come to our meetings, and I just want to give him a public shout out for really making the effort to really come and have good conversation and really learn about how school budgets are put together and why we do what we do. So thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Joe?
Does the board want to have this come back on your April 11th meeting ahead of the school committee on the 14th?
I think we've already said that we support this.
Yeah. I
They're
think
gonna,
it-
they're gonna come up with a
Yeah,
letter of
we'll come
support
up, yeah,
for
because
us
we have to discuss it in our committee as to what the wording is.
So we're gonna be
Yeah.
looking at a draft letter to
Yeah,
send
so
this
we'll
up.
come back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mark?
It's tough to follow John Chory, but I agree. You're the biggest expense for the town. You see the police and fire department here almost every selectmen's meeting. I'd suggest you try and make more of an appearance and almost do what the chairman has done, is have like a scorecard on what we do for the untaxed property in town, but just to keep pace on the next step, as Dawn has said. The next step is the big step that will help make, the fiscal health of both the schools and the town a lot better. So come more often, be heard and seen, and let us keep pace of what we need to do to keep this moving forward. So thanks.
Thank you. And you're all invited to our school committee meetings anytime. We welcome you.
And likewise, you can come here every night you
We did water, right? Okay.
All right, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the wastewater department budget in the amount of $2,357,019.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Don?
Just to be clear, because it's all part of the same department. It is that portion of the department, because it's the water wastewater department.
Right.
I just want everybody to know that this is the portion that pertains to the wastewater portion of that.
We just voted the water part, well,
Yeah.
a while ago.
I'm just bringing it up because
Okay.
people are going to get confused.
Larry, any questions?
None.
Julie?
No.
Mary?
No.
Don?
I'm good.
Joe, we had this conversation today. I'm looking for an email. Maybe you could jump in while I find it. There was money left over in the last year's wastewater operating budget and wasn't used. Where is that money?
So I think, Mr. Chairman, what you're referring to is and I wouldn't want the finance director to stop. You're probably going to get up to that microphone and have to correct me. It's undesignated undesignated retained earnings for the wastewater department. It was approved last year when the town had the free cash approved. It's over $250,000. What the wastewater superintendent said is he believes that we would be able to rely upon 200,000 of that, and it would be my understanding that that would be reflected in the overall motion for that article that talks about the various funding sources.
Enterprise fund?
Go ahead.
The enterprise fund is where it's
No.
retained earnings?
It's in enterprise fund?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was in the operating.
Hi, Carol Capola, Finance Director. The town of Harwich has two enterprise funds. One's water and one is wastewater. They're separate and distinctive funds. They both carry retained earnings. And with further discussions with the wastewater superintendent, we discussed this year's budget. We initially thought that the town of Chatham, we would be paying the town of Chatham for operations, and we have not. So there will be sufficient funds when free cash is certified and retained earnings are certified after June 30th. So you'll have a cushion, I'll say. I would feel comfortable with the 200,000.
So what we're saying is 200,000 of this 2.357 million will come from, the motion will say certified funds, correct? Retained earnings. Board's clear with that?
Yep.
Okay. John, you clear with that?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to place fund negotiated contract for the Harwich Employees Association on the warrant.
Second.
Do we have a dollar amount on that?
We do not, so we're just putting it on the warrant.
Okay.
We do have a dollar amount, Mr. Chairman.
In the amount of?
$139,776.
That was part of the second?
Yep.
Okay, any discussion from the board?
No.
Larry, roll call.
None, yep. Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. John, you have that number? Do you need that number again?
139,776.
So we can do the second motion.
We sure can.
I move that we vote to, we vote to accept and adopt funding the negotiated contract for the Harwich Employee Association in the amount of $139,776.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Do you have a number on the next one, Joe?
I do. That's $48,880.
48,880.
Correct.
I move that we vote to place fund negotiated contract Highways and Maintenance Employees Association on the warrant in the amount of $48,880.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Joe, just on the last two, the funding source of those?
So presently, they're in the spreadsheet that I'll identify in your packet of additional materials under free cash.
Free cash on both of those.
Correct.
You're welcome.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt funding the negotiated contract for Highways and Maintenance Employee Association in the amount of $48,880.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept and adopt. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
You're on a roll. Got a number for the capital budget?
I would ask that you hold off on that as you go through on
Okay.
standalone articles and other items.
Okay. I move that we vote to place on the warrant the lease purchase agreement article.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
No.
Okay, roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the lease purchase agreements article.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Michael, can I have just a quick question
Go
for
ahead.
Joe? On the one previous to that, the lease purchase agreements, do we have to do this every year, Joe? We did this last year as well.
My understanding is that we have to do it every time that we contemplate lease purchases.
Okay,
We do contemplate it during the
Okay.
fiscal year.
thank you.
The next one, do you have money for the next one, Joe? Or should we just put it on the warrant?
I do believe we have it. I don't have it on my sheet, but I can look in an email exchange.
Well, why don't I'll move that we vote to place, oh, we don't have the we need the number for that, too.
Do you have it, Carol? Do you have the PEG amount?
We do not have, sorry, we do not have the PEG amount yet. We're working with Comcast to obtain that.
Okay.
So hold.
I put it on the warrant.
Put it on the warrant without it?
a
Yeah.
number? Yeah.
Okay. I move that we vote to place Public Education and Government PEG Access and Cable-Related Fund for Public Access on the warrant.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Joe, can we have that back next week with a number for accept and adopt?
Yes.
I move that we vote to place Public Education and Government PEG Access and Cable-Related Funding for hearing room and studio improvements on the warrant.
Second.
That might be a typo, but I'll email Alan about it.
Okay. Jamie?
Yeah.
Do you mind explaining that, just in case we have to not put it on the warrant? Or what the proper thing should say?
It shouldn't, sorry, Jamie Goodwin, Channel 18 Station Manager. There shouldn't be anything about hearing room or station improvements, just the PEG grant access for the Cape Media is the only article. So there's 2 articles and that's incorrect.
So the first one we voted is good?
Correct.
Take this one out.
Yep, and we're just waiting for the funding number from Comcast.
Okay.
Draw my second.
Withdraw my motion.
Okay. And Joe, you have that note?
I move that.
Hang on one second. John, go ahead.
Michael, since we have to have these in by, to Joe Friday, should we put no recommendation pending further information
I would.
on these?
I would,
That we're
unless-
waiting for further dollar amounts?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
And Jamie or Carol could get you that number as soon as we get it as well.
If she gets it tomorrow or Thursday, that'd be great.
There's no problem with that if he gets it right away, Joe,
Correct.
from them?
Great, thank you, Michael.
I move that we vote to place the community center green community utilities on the warrant.
Second.
In the amount of $298,540.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Joe, I don't know if you want to wait for Julie to come back on that and add another aye so that we have the 5-0 in there, but.
Yes, please, and thank you. And just to note that we have confirmation of the information. You can remember that we had a placeholder of $437,400. So the number that you see there is the town's required allocation that added to the amount you can see in the body of the article, the explanation, comes back to the 459,492. So the explanation will not have the line that says estimated cost, and the estimated cost on the article is a true and accurate of the real amount now.
Okay, and you didn't say estimated, so we're covered.
Okay.
And I'll go back to Julie when she walks back in the room on that. So we can
Go
take
on
a
the
vote.
next,
We've already
okay.
got the vote on that, so.
And then, Mr. Chairman, while you're waiting, the next one is revolving fund. Council has confirmed it does not need to go in. I want to emphasize that the equipment for Channel 18 and the weight room equipment appear on the budget for the capital plan. That's because they're capital items, but they do not require additional appropriation.
So the weight room one comes off?
Correct.
So we don't need that article.
Okay.
Julie, we put a community center, green community utility in the amount of $298,540. Are you in favor of that?
Yes.
Yes.
We were waiting for you.
5-0, thank you.
Funding source on the 298, John?
That is presently listed under free cash.
Free cash.
My understanding, however, was your motion was to place. You have not
Correct.
yet done accept and adopt,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on the community center green community utilities in the amount of $298,540.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Julie, we're removing the weight room equipment one because that is the revolving fund.
I move that we vote to place the stormwater EPA MS4 compliance article on the warrant. In the amount of $100,000.
And Joe, do you want it to say estimated cost of $100,000 at this point, or are we comfortable that that's?
We can call that the cost, that's what's contemplated.
Okay, so the motion's fine.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call, any discussion?
No.
Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the stormwater EPA MS4 compliance article in the amount of $100,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that
Free cash on that one, Joe?
Correct.
I move that we vote to place the replacement of bullet-resistant vests article on the warrant
Second.
in the amount of $49,200.
That's part of your second, Don?
Yes, it was.
Okay, any discussion?
Is that an estimated cost?
None.
I would keep that one as estimated.
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Estimated cost of $49,200.
That's part of Don's second. No discussion. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. And what's the funding source there?
So again, free cash, and Mr. Chairman, what I've done, hopefully for folks watching at home, you board members have it in front of you, but if you look in your packet, you have this spreadsheet with the yellow border, and it identifies what is presently contemplated to come out of free cash.
Okay.
And so the item that you're voting on now, up here is right here on line number 12.
And you can see that.
You folks have it in front of you.
Okay.
That is updated. We're gonna go into that again tonight, but that's the most updated copy.
I don't have that.
I'll give you mine, just so you have something to look at.
It's like a 6-point font. It's like a 6-point font.
I like this one.
Yeah, give him that one. Thank you. Yeah, well, I'll share mine with you when I find it. All right.
I think we still need to accept and adopt,
We do.
correct,
Yes,
Joe?
yes, we do. Yep.
Yes.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on replacement of bullet resistance vests in the amount of $49,200.
Estimated.
Estimated cost of $49,200.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to place the dispatch center battery backup uninterrupted power supply battery replacement article on the warrant in the amount of $14,137.50.
Is that an estimate?
Estimated cost of $14,137.50.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on the dispatch center battery backup uninterrupted power supply battery replacement with an estimated cost of $14,137.50.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just that will be rounded up to 14,138.
That's going to change the whole budget.
Larry will throw in the 50 cents.
You got it.
Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
And that's free cash as well.
I thought Angelo was our source for rounding
I'm
up.
getting him for a bunch of other stuff.
I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article on the new voting tabulator equipment, estimated cost $75,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on new voting tabulator equipment with an estimated cost of $75,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Joe, this placeholder for the water department, is that a go?
Yes. This, you may remember,
Yes, I do.
thank you.
Go ahead, Mary.
I move that we vote to place the Water Department fiscal year 2023 water main design on the warrant.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Joe, what would be the funding source for that?
This would be the Water Department retained earnings.
Okay, thank you.
I
Any dis-
forgot to mention the cost,
Go ahead.
$30,000,
300.
$300,000 added to the motion.
I like 30 better.
And that's your second? Okay, that's Don's second.
I tried, Don.
Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on the Water Department fiscal year 2023 water main design in the estimated amount of $300,000.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Before you go any further.
Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair. John, how do you spell your first name? J-O-N. That's what I thought. It repeatedly is misspelled in the warrant.
Okay.
Yes, it is actually right.
I got your back.
Those changes should be sent to Ellen, John, or just mention them to her, please.
Well, I've noted that, and Ellen is aware.
Oh, Danielle, sorry.
Joe?
Joe, sorry.
You ready for the next one?
Yeah, where are we?
We are page 23.
23. We are, okay.
I move that
Go ahead.
I move that we vote to place the article, purchase and equip vehicles for the police department on the warrant.
What's the total amount?
Estimated cost, $157,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded, Joe. That is been removed from what was originally in the operating budget and put on the capital, correct?
Correct, and it is also contemplated to be funded through free cash. And you can see that highlighted up there on the screen.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Can I just ask one thing? I think at some point, wasn't this, I know we put it on the capital, but at some point in time, it was moved to operating years ago. Is that right? So are we doing any harm by moving it to capital, or is that where it belongs truly?
Chief?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Chief Dave Gilmet, Chief of Police. I had an interesting conversation with retired Deputy Chief Tom Gagnon. He told me that it was either the board or the Finance Committee some years back voted to take it off capital and put it in operating because it's more of a recurring expense, and that they actually agreed on a rotation of about 2, 3, 2, I believe he said. 2 cruises 1 year, 3 the next, 2, 3. And so that's what he told me. I see it as a recurring expense. It's basic equipment for the police department.
Right.
Thank you, Chief.
So I'm just bringing that up because I know we voted, but I learned that, and I think it's a good point. So
I think it's a great point, but given the constraints of the budget this year, it's trying to figure out what not to. And,
I know.
And that we had a big pool of free cash, but at the board's pleasure. Mary?
It sounds like capital to me. Isn't there usually a dollar value at which something becomes capital? And I don't know if we have a
The
dollar
charter
value.
is 50 grand.
50 grand? So,
we'll leave it. I'm just saying it's probably a discussion point maybe going forward. But I just think it's interesting that it got moved. I just learned that as well, so.
And I was actually around when some of those discussions went on. And part of it was the feeling that it made it more relevant as part of the operating budget. Capital was, in some ways, people treat that one, arm length removed. Then there was a lot of side comments, but I think it was a proper move to put it in capital. I don't think that was a mistake to move to operating for those reasons.
Okay, I just wanted to bring
think the chief,
it
as
up.
long as he gets his cruises this year, we could revisit
Doesn't
this
care.
next year.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just bringing it up because I just learned about it, and I thought it was worth a discussion point, so.
Of course.
Go ahead, Don.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I grant you that it's a consumable, but it's a really big consumable per unit. And Mary's right. I mean, it's basically a capital purchase. I go back to the late 90s where it was treated as a capital purchase. It was 2015, somewhere around there, 2014.
Yeah, you know, it was a funny discussion. The discussion was it made it more relevant. It was part of the operating.
But it's been both places.
And that way, I think mistakenly, is that we could control it better, but without, you know, part of the operating, which is a mistake.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
I voted against it then too, by the way.
Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Was that just putting it on the warrant?
Yes.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on purchase and equipping vehicles for the police department with an estimated cost of $157,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to place the article for fiscal year '23 vehicle replacements for the water department on the warrant with estimated cost of $90,000.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept and adopt. Any discussion?
That was to place on the
Oh,
warrant.
to place on the warrant.
Place
Sorry,
on
I'm still lost.
You're ahead.
I'm way ahead. Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie? Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on fiscal year '23 vehicle replacements for the water department, estimated cost $90,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This time to accept and adopt.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Aye.
Larry? Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And Don. I was testing you guys.
Yeah, right.
Water Department retained earnings.
Yes. Thank you, Joe.
I move that we vote to place the article on funding the snow and ice deficit on the warrant
Estimated.
in the amount of $400,000, estimated.
Second.
Estimated.
Moved-
Thank you, Don.
Moved and seconded. Joe?
So, at the risk of jinxing everything, because today was 20 degrees with a wind chill and snowflakes,
And flurries.
the DPW director has updated the estimate as of last week, and at present, to cover the deficit would require $266,337. So the question is whether we feel comfortable putting that amount or a higher amount in, and again, this would be through free cash.
Thank you. Carol?
I'm sorry, but I also spoke to DPW today to see if, one of the staff members at DPW to see if we could finalize these numbers, and they're holding some invoices. They've got some invoices that they still have to process.
Conundrum.
400,000 it is.
Yeah.
Subject to
Thank you,
change.
Carol.
Definitely subject
Correct.
to change. Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This wouldn't be the first time we changed a number on town meeting floor through a motion. I mean, I feel comfortable with this. It's harder to do it the other way.
Well,
They go up.
hopefully, Carol, can we get that number in a reasonable amount of time by next week? Okay. If we can get that number, we can vote a number next week. So for now, we'll keep Mary's motion as it was at 400,000.
That's what I seconded.
And I will do a discussion. Roll call vote. Larry?
Just hope that there's not an April Fool's storm.
It's happened before.
Julie?
Aye.
Don't even say
Mary?
that.
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
That's just accept and adopt.
That one is to place it on the warrant, not amount of money.
Right.
Now we're gonna go to accept and adopt, but we will be looking for a change next week.
So I'll do an NR.
Yeah, that number.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on funding the snow and ice deficit with an estimated cost of $400,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept and adopt. Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Backing up a little bit, can we, Joe and Carol, as soon as we get that number from DPW, get that to John so that he has a possibility of voting the real number? Go ahead.
I move that we vote to place the article on funding the 2023 road maintenance program on the warrant with an estimated
700,000.
Where is it? With an estimated cost of 700,000.
Second.
Moved in second, any discussion? Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on funding the fiscal year 2023 road maintenance program in the amount of $700,000.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. And that is funded how?
So you recall you added a override question last week to the election warrant, and the town also offsets with Chapter 90 funds.
Thank you.
These next bunch, we just have to accept and adopt.
Community that is correct.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on Community Preservation Act Land Bank Debt Service in the amount of $221,525.
Second.
And Joe, do we want these to be estimated or are these actuals?
I would leave them as estimated.
That part of the
Estimated
motion?
cost,
Yep.
yes.
Part of the second?
Yep.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, Larry?
I'm tempted to say no, but that'll get us all in jail, right, for not paying our debt? Aye.
We borrowed money.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article, the Community Preservation article on administrative expenses with an estimated cost of $60,000.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion.
60 or 70?
Chairman,
72?
I think this is a number that might be different from what the Finance Committee did. However, Community Preservation Chairman David Nixon was in my office this morning. You may recall there was some discussion a few weeks ago, and he confirmed that the dollar amount is in fact $60,000, which is $10,000 above what they usually do. There was a number of additional $12,500. That was a separate vote by CPC to use funds this year. So the dollar amount has been confirmed by the chair to be $60,000 for administrative expenses.
Okay.
Will we vote?
Okay.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Have we voted on that one?
No, I don't think so.
Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the Community Preservation Act on East Harwich Union Cemetery Gravestone Preservation Project with an estimated cost of $118,800.
I'm going to recuse myself because my church actually
get a
benefits
second?
from that.
Okay, moved and seconded by Julie. Any discussion? Roll call vote. We just heard that Don was going to recuse himself. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
I'm an aye, and Don recused himself. Joe?
We okay?
Yep.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on Community Preservation Act Part-Time Housing Coordinator, estimated cost of $50,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Go ahead, Don.
We, just so everybody knows, I mean, we had a Housing Trust meeting this afternoon, and we did bring this up. Mary was there too. Should the hiring of the other position occur at the meeting, then we could always give this back because there is a drawback provision for CPC funds. But I would hate that we out at sea without a lifesaver at all. So I would urge that we support putting this in, and should the circumstances dictate that we have the money, because there's also a discussion to be had about what Brewster's doing and how they're funding their housing coordinator.
I agree. So right now, the motion is to accept and adopt, and that's just us supporting it. It's
Right.
already on the warrant.
Can I get clarification? What is Brewster doing differently?
They're using the CPC money to fund the basic pay, and the town fronts the benefits.
Okay.
Because you can't fund benefits through CPC.
CPC, right, okay.
And they've done that for a number of years.
Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the Community Preservation Act article on the Affordable Housing Trust with an estimated cost of $500,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the Community Preservation Act article on Phase 2 of the Natural Heritage Trail Boardwalk Project, estimated cost of $75,000.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the Community Preservation Act article on Penrose LLC Cape Cod 5 housing project in the amount of estimated cost of $100,000.
Any second?
Yeah, I second, but I do have questions on this.
Me too.
On supporting the community, and I think I read in the paper, this last paper, that one of the towns involved, was it Orleans, decided to bail out? And Chatham decided not
It is
to,
in Orleans, yeah.
not to support it.
Right.
And I have trouble supporting this when we have so many needs in our own, and without having further description on exactly how, do we get a percent of use of this, or, you know, we have no guidelines how this would be used. I have difficulty with it.
I agree with you tonight. Julie?
Well, and I don't know the details, so I agree that maybe it needs to be vetted further. But the only thing I do want to say is that if these are all going to be affordable units, and there's any kind of percentage breakdown, I mean, the only thing I don't like, I didn't really think fondly of Chatham's vote, because housing, although a local problem, is also a regional problem. And any housing we can get for anybody is important. And if that means that, you know, we could follow up to say, what's the breakdown going to be, you know, based on population? How does this get vetted? We still have a little bit of time. I'd like to learn more about that.
Thank you, Julie. John, I'm not going to get to you yet, but I'm close. Mary?
I'm in favor of this because, as Julie just said, housing is a regional problem, and I trust the Community Preservation Committee that has vetted this. They said they have enough money to do it, and, you know, people don't always live in the town they work in, so I'm in favor of that.
Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure whether I'm in favor or against. They asked me as a liaison when I was on the meeting call. They were presupposing they were going to possibly get reciprocity if we had a project from Orleans, but Orleans made it clear that there is no necessary reciprocity. I have spoken to Senator Sear in that same conversation we talked about earlier about trying to get communities some statistical benefit towards their 10% goal. Because I'm with you. I mean, the difference between getting into a car in West Harwich and coming to East Harwich and taking about 15 minutes to get there, or jumping into a car and going on Route 6 from Orleans and taking 15 minutes to get there, eludes me. There is no real difference, and it would help the region, but we're getting no benefit from it whatsoever in terms of our affordable housing goals, so I'm ambivalent.
Thank you, Don. John?
Yes, I can speak to a couple points that people have raised, and I agree with Mary. I think it's a good approach for a regional solution to the affordable housing. It does not count, Don, to your point, towards our 10% credit at all. To Larry or Julie, we get the first batch of affordable houses goes to Orleans residents. If they're not full or taken up by the first round, there's a second round of a lottery system, and depending on how much money you put in, you get an allocation for your town to have a lottery from Harwich. People live there. And I did speak to Rio Sakuchi, who's the project manager for this, and got those details there. There's about 42 units being built at a cost of $28 million. Number of towns have contributed to this. Orleans did $2 million, and I believe Brewster, Eastham, Truro each kicked in about $100,000. Provincetown kicked in about 25,000. Wellfleet, they were all out of CPC money for this year, but they said they would consider it for next year. But it is a regional approach, and we do not get credit towards the 10%. And it's about a $28 million project. A lot of the funding's coming from the federal government and other grants. But it's a company from Pennsylvania that's, you know, the developer of this project.
Thank
and,
you, John.
And we approved it 7-0.
Thank you.
So I'll make a second on that. Did you?
It's moved and
Somebody
seconded.
second.
Yeah, I
Larry
second, I
seconded.
second for
seconded it.
discussion,
Okay.
yeah.
And if we get more information, if the vote doesn't pass to accept and adopt, it's in the warrant no matter what. We can
Right.
vote again to reconsider prior to town meeting if we get some of the answers. I would love to know from Julie and Seer on when they're going to address towns getting credit for these projects. Us, our accessory dwelling bylaw that we passed, and other things that we've done that should start chipping away at our 10%. But with no further discussion, we'll go to a vote, and I will start with Larry.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote yes, because if we get more information, we can reconsider it before town meeting.
Julie?
Aye, yes.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
The same votes, yeah, aye.
I'm voting no. 4-1, Joe?
That's 3-2. No.
No.
Larry voted for it. Don voted for it.
Oh, sorry, I apologize.
I'm on the assumption we can reconsider before town meeting. We've done
Thank
that
you.
before,
Sorry
and we'll
about
get more
Yeah.
details.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the Community Preservation Act article on the pickleball basketball project at Brooks Park with an estimated cost of $245,000.
Any second?
Second.
Okay, moved in second. Discussion?
I can only hope to see the committee fully vetted this.
Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Abstain.
I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the Community Preservation Act article on purchasing conservation restriction at the Spruce Woods project. Estimated cost of $950,000.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Larry?
No.
Julie? I mean, sorry.
Aye.
Yeah, roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
You skipped the green ones. So we're on page 34. I move that we vote to accept and adopt,
We skipping the green means it's done.
meaning it's done.
Yeah,
Green
I
is
did.
done.
Thank you.
Accept and adopt to the article changing selectmen to the select board.
Second.
We did that last
Already
week.
did that
We've
one.
done that already.
Yeah. And we voted to put in the warrant as well as support.
With the changes.
Well, that was the wetlands
That was
one,
the-
was not the one with my.
Oh,
board.
sorry, yeah.
All right, so we'll get on to discussion. It's been moved and seconded to change selectmen to select board. Who seconded the motion?
I did.
Julie seconded it. Discussion, Larry?
No.
Julie?
No.
Mary?
Nope.
Don?
Nope.
None from me, so I will go to a roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article amending the Code of Harwich General Bylaws, Chapter 8, Department Revolving Funds, Section 8-1, Funds Established.
Any
Oh,
second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Don?
In principle, because this has been going on for years, I'm not going to vote for it until there's some fundamental change that occurs.
Joe?
So I just wanted to draw the board's attention to three things that are going on here. First, what you see on page 35, the original impetus for this is under Golf Pro Shop and Restaurant Lease, where you can see that the golf committee add to include the language after the word modernization under use of funds, the word driving range equipment replacement so that it would be amended to say pro shop expenses, clubhouse and kitchen maintenance, modernization, driving range equipment replacement, and upgrades and lessons instructor. The other thing that's going on is the Albro House the ADA one is contemplated for removal. I can speak more to that in a moment. You can see that there's a name change contemplated to the revolving fund that currently reads Middle School Cultural Center. There is a discussion item as to whether the board wants to change the authorization to spend. That's language that I've put in there. Council has also weighed in on potential language that the board is considering that. And then in your handout of standalone articles, if you go to page, the fourth page in, you can see that there's also a request which came in after the printing of this from the Cemetery Commission to add language to the cemetery line under use of funds. And so what they're asking is that by expanding the scope to allow for part-time wages. So one little article with a lot going on.
Okay, why don't we start with Mary?
Is the cemetery one, I just wondered, is that typically allowed that revolving funds can be used for part-time staff?
So we do use it generally. The key point here is if you don't have it in there, you can't use it for that. So if the town wanted to contemplate using that revolving fund to pay part-time wages, you would have to have the language in there. Otherwise, the way it reads is not understood to allow that.
But it's not inherently wrong to have that in there.
No, I think we have it
Can
in
have that
several
in.
instances. I think
Okay.
recreation comes to mind where it says rec and youth programs. Thank you, golf is probably the better example in the pro shop. And I thank my colleague for the assist on this item. And of course, weight room, as we
Okay.
talked about before.
Julie, over to you.
Thank you.
Comments, questions,
No,
concerns?
I'm fine with it.
Larry?
I'd like, Joe, for you to comment on, you've changed all the authorizations from the various department heads to yourself. What was behind that?
So the original impetus for that was, there's a few instances where it would have to change. I think the major one is on the second page when you look at the middle school. It would no longer be tied to the community center director. And the question really came, do we want to put in Director of Cultural Affairs, not knowing what's going to happen? And so then that led to a discussion that I had with council. What do other towns do? And he indicated that I could either go that way, and the designee could be any department head. So it does not exclude the department heads. The other way that the council had it, I think, is to just say the town administrator. So I'm certainly not looking to take on more work. I am trying to make the bylaw more sustainable by not having it potentially reference positions that are either no longer connected to it or no longer related. And so really, it's meant to be a discussion point for the board.
Julie?
And just as a follow-up to that, then, if it was to designate, for example, you still have the financial reports that are monthly or weekly or whatever, right, to review, so it's not like.
Quarterly, but yep.
Quarterly, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, and none of that would change, and my directive, or excuse me, my mindset would be, is to identify most of the department heads that are listed to be the designee in the short term. And again, for me, the reason why I say most, the only one that causes problems is the one regarding the middle school.
And that was partly my reason I was asking the question, because I see Carolyn sitting here, but they don't spend a lot of money in the weight room activity, and for you to take that over seems to be extra work that doesn't add value at this point.
Yeah, so the way the council explained it is putting in the designee there, it allows us the flexibility.
You can bail out.
You don't anticipate a change. Let's use the weight room. You're not looking to micromanage the weight room.
Not in the least.
You're gonna keep it as it is. We're just putting language in there.
Correct.
Okay.
So, can I? So,
No,
Ro-
not yet.
It-
I'll
that-
let you know.
That-
You don't even have to sit down, because I think it'll be quick.
Very-
Mary had her hand up
I
first.
had my hand up, but Joe already answered the question. My belief was you were trying to clean this up, but your intention is clearly to designate the department managers.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm all set.
And then one more before you, Robin. Don, back to you, since we've added a lot to the conversation.
Yeah, I guess my concern is there an understanding that if you add the language there for the cemetery, they can go ahead and do this, or is that a secondary action that would be required? To hire a person?
Joe, I would start with you on that, and then we'll get to Robin. I think in any case, they revolving fund requests, well, I guess I'm wrong. Joe, what's your understanding of that?
It's not something that's been discussed with administration. I think the potential is there. If you have
Hire
to-
without further action?
Because it's part-time, again, the charter requires new full-time positions to be actively endorsed by the board. I don't know what part-time wages does to that discussion. I'd want to defer to the cemetery administrator. on that.
Your turn, Robin.
Actually, I was going to ask something else. So I am not the designee. It would be my cemetery commissioners. They vote on all of my expenditures. So instead of it being designee, can it be designees? So that it would include my commissioners, because they're the ones who actually, I ask them if I can spend things, and then they tell me if I can.
Okay, what else did you have?
That was it.
That was it? Okay.
And so if we have money available in the fund and we can hire a part-time employee, is it my commissioners that would put it before Joe, or how would that process go?
That one I'll go back to Joe.
So my knee-jerk reaction would be that the role of town administrator, and I'm not trying to talk in the third person, but the role of the town administrator, and the charter says chief personnel administrator, and all positions go through the administrator. And so if there was a request for part-time employees, I think anyone would have to make contact with administration, and I'd first start with the assistant town administrator to evaluate what's being requested, and if there's a need, and if we have funding.
Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I only brought this subject up because this came up in the joint budget meeting, FinCom and us, and I thought we had concluded that, especially given trying to figure out what times they would be assigned to be of any help, that we weren't going to do this. We were going to be looking at department possibilities to, back her up. But that goes away if we're giving authority without any other action.
Mary?
My recollection is the same as Don's, that we concluded that did not, you can't plan for when these people die.
Julie?
No.
Well put.
You can't.
What time is it?
It's
5 o'clock somewhere.
We don't have a long way to go, Joe. We're getting there.
So,
I'm out here by 9.
my recollection is the same as you, and the only comment I recall making was, are we confirming that there was going to be the ability to cross-train somebody to fill that position? So I guess my only comment to close the loop on this, if we were gonna proceed, is in the changes that you've made to your cemetery, documents, is that a section to say, any part-time employee that is to be hired would be subject to review by the town administrator, and then subject to the commissioner's vote. I mean, that would kind of close the loop on this, right?
Right.
So the monies would be in there, you could use them if approved.
If approved.
But it would have an approval process.
This is a backup, just in
Right.
case we don't find somebody to actually do this. We
And
got
to-
a lot of vacation time coming up.
And to Robin's point there, and to the language, if we can close the loop and have a review process that's in your new documents, then I say we do that, because if it doesn't work, you have an alternative, and there's money in there to do it. So that requires new language.
Correct. And if it doesn't get approved at this town meeting and we don't find someone to cover me, then at least we'll have that option to use it if we have to.
So what about your revising language in your documents, because you don't currently have that
So I did, it is in a
Do
separate.
you have that separately?
Yeah,
Okay.
in that article
Okay.
that he read.
I think it's in the standalone.
Correct.
It's in a
Oh, in
standalone.
this, in this
Page 4 of the
standalone, okay, sorry, didn't mean to cause more confusion.
Larry?
I have nothing to add to that.
Yeah, Julie, I take your points. I just, we're so late in the game, I find it hard to believe we're talking about putting a salary option in a general fund, in a revolving fund at this point. We got 2 meetings left to close the warrant.
I don't have a problem with.
No, and I support what you've said, because I supported that in the last meetings, and Joe has assured us that he's gonna find relief and that Robin is entitled to her time off, as every employee is. So I'm comfortable with what Joe said and bringing this back for next year, but I'm not comfortable voting it now.
I'm comfortable with it coming back as well. I'm just making the point that maybe it is what moves forward after this town meeting, because I think it does close a loop.
And clearly, Robin has demonstrated that she needs part-time help while she goes away, another time. I think that, but I am gonna take what the town administrator says, that he's gonna find some help, and
Mary's motions,
Mary's motion had nothing to do with that, because that's on the standalone.
so that hasn't actually been.
We're just talking page 35 at this point.
well, that'll make the next conversation easier.
Yeah, because we've already had it.
Okay. So, let's go to vote on this one. Is there anything else in this one that people don't like?
No. Go for it.
So, with no further discussion, roll.
Just, if I could, very quickly, I apologize, but again, I just want to emphasize that the ADA revolving fund will go away, and that's simply because, I know that I have not, as being responsible for that, seen any revenue derived, and I do not believe my predecessor saw any revenue derived.
And if the newly revised committee comes up, wants a revolving fund and comes up with a funding source, then we can add it back.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody clear with that?
Yes.
Okay, roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
No.
And I am an aye.
Was that to place or accept and adopt?
That's to place.
Okay, then I move we vote to accept and adopt the article amending the Code of Harwich General Bylaws, Chapter 8, Department Revolving Funds, Section 8-1, Funds Established.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
No.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article on annual departmental revolving funds authorization.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize, but can I just have a clarification on that last vote? Was that as presented or as presented and the standalone?
That was
No, that was
as
as
presented.
presented.
Thank you.
Do I need to read each
No,
of these? Or should I?
Go ahead.
Okay, the revolving funds, golf pro shop and restaurant lease revenue, spending limit 250,000, available for expenditure. Golf infrastructure fund, 140,000. Council on Aging fund, 125,000. Cemetery, 100,000. Community center, 100,000. Recreation, 175,000. Albro House, 10,000. ADA, are we striking that, so skip that?
You would strike, that would be handled through the motion. If the bylaw passes as previously voted by the board, the motion would reflect a change in ADA and a name change in middle school.
Okay, so for right now, I read
I
it
would
as
recommend
is.
you leave it as is.
ADA, $2,500, wetlands, 6,000, middle school cultural center, 225,000, sidewalks, 50,000, tax title collection, 36,000.
Second on that motion?
Second.
You guys second, Don? Any discussion? Don?
Just that we're well in excess of $1 million here and going north each year. So I'm still not going to agree to it. There's got to be a better way to put most of this back into a regular budget.
Mary?
I don't disagree with Don, but I don't have the time to do that now in time for the warrant, but I certainly wouldn't mind talking about that in July.
I'll just remind the board, we had this conversation and nothing came forward from anybody. So we can keep putting it on the agenda and I'll do it if asked, but We had this conversation, we had the auditors in here that explained that it was a little high. We had our finance director explained, for a small town, it's a little high, and the board needs to take an action on this, and I would say that trying to do it at this point before town meeting makes absolutely no sense. Joe?
So two things. First of all, there's scrivener's errors in the title. I believe it should read fiscal year '23 spending limit and disposition of fiscal year '22 fund balance. And then secondly, the amounts that are being suggested are carryovers. There's no increases in any of those from prior years,
Thank you.
or from the prior year, I should say.
And you really didn't want the middle school moniker being used, did you?
As I was saying before, if the previous article's adopted, the motion would be to strike ADA, and it would be to change middle school cultural center.
Into the address.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that, once the prior article is dispatched.
Julie, comments, questions?
No.
Larry?
I have a comment, and I'm not going to hold this up tonight, but I would ask for clarification on the cultural center, on the amount in the revolving funds, because if you try to reconcile the revenues and the expenses, compare that to what's in revolving fund, you know, the revenues are the same, the expenses change because we don't count all the expenses go back into the revolving fund. So I was going to write, I'll follow up with an email, because that, I need to understand where that comes from right now. Carol, is that, because, you know, the reason we have money in revolving fund is the revolving fund is not used to pay the expenses, all of it. And that's probably the way it's worded, but I need to reconcile that. That makes sense to me. So I'm not going to hold this up. I'm going to ask for more information on that going forward.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
No.
And I'm an aye.
Was that to place on warrant?
Yes.
Okay, I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article, adopt Mass General Law, Chapter, sorry, I moved on. I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article, Annual Departmental Revolving Funds Authorization.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
No.
And I'm an aye. I would suggest any member of the board that wants to have an action on this, articulate that action into an email to the town administrator. Thoughts, suggestions, but we did have a pretty lengthy conversation about this, and it's been on the agenda a lot in the last year, as promised from last year it not being on the agenda. So, but we can't do anything without suggestion unless we're just looking for the finance director and the town administrator to tell us what they would do. And if that's the case, that's what the email should say.
Okay. I move that we vote to place the article, adopt Mass General Law, Chapter 200A, Section 9A, disposition of unclaimed property on the warrant.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Joe, do you want to give an explanation to this?
My quick explanation is it's a request of the treasurer collector. My long explanation is my colleague is walking to the mic.
Currently, when we have vendor checks or payroll checks that go unclaimed, uncashed, we have a procedure where we'll contact the individuals, but the general law that the town falls into right now, because we have not accepted this law, is we have to hold those monies or those funds in what we call a separate account. It's a tailings account, we call it. And then there's a whole procedure where it has to be advertised in a newspaper, has to be put on the website. The balance in these tailing accounts have grown significantly, and we have a way, the town has a way to resolve this within a year, so that we hold them within a year and reissue, contact the folks, but for so many of these, we've never received any kind of a response. We've never, received anything. Anyway, it would just save the treasurer collector's office a tremendous amount of time and effort if you would allow this.
Thank you. Any further questions from the board?
No.
Nope. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article, adopt Mass General Law, Chapter 20A, Section 9A, disposition of unclaimed property.
200A?
Yeah,
200A.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don? And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to place the article, adopt Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 56, assessment of local taxes, property exemptions on the warrant. Estimated costs $10,000.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article to adopt Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 56, assessment of local taxes, property exemptions, in the estimated cost of $10,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article, adopt Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 5N, senior citizen and veteran property tax work-off abatement programs.
Estimate cost.
Estimated cost of $30,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article, adopt Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 5N, senior citizen and veteran property tax work-off abatement programs in the amount of estimated $30,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article, disposition of properties to fund parcels unknown.
Joe, explanation?
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is the article manifestation of the board's ongoing discussion of owners unknown parcels and a way to clear those up. This article was written by council on direction from me, from the board, to establish an article that would allow the town to dispose of present town properties that are surplus, and then to use the proceeds to fund the town's efforts to clean up owners unknown and the like. So the language that you see there, the only part that's missing is we would have to articulate the properties that we would want to contemplate be disposed of for those purposes. And so right now, you can see that council has written it in such a way that there's placeholders for such properties. It can be more, it can be less.
Thank you. And ultimately, Joe, this is to get to having some money for the town to then use to have tax title, surveyors, escrow money, lawyers, to go after the owners unknown and miscellaneous parcels.
Correct.
So would we, prior to town meeting, would identify properties to put on here? Those properties would then be sold and the money used?
Correct.
And isn't there a mechanism to put a standalone article with some money attached to it, with an explanation that as we acquire some of these pieces of property, that we will sell them? Or are we just gonna do this with anticipated sales up front?
So that was the conversation with council. What she felt was this is a mechanism that they know has survived challenge. It becomes murkier if you do it the second way that you've mentioned.
Okay. I think the description's gonna have to have a hefty number. I mean, when we sell these properties, we're gonna have to pick a dollar amount, or maybe not, but the motion and the description, Joe, are gonna have to articulate what the priority of this board is, and that is miscellaneous parcels and owners unknown. And if this fails, we're right back to where we started, and we're not working on anything again. That's why I'm not sure we shouldn't have an article that puts some money in. I know originally the finance director had a number in assessing's budget and maybe tax collector's budget, though I don't think it was nearly enough. It was something. Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually agree with everything you said up to the point of, I don't want to give, and this wouldn't, but I don't want to give pre-authority to a Board of Selectmen, because that's been an ongoing trend to say, we don't know what it is, but we're going to allow the selectmen to do whatever they want in the future. And it really, we have to be careful that people are there with us. I mean, if we're going to sell properties and everybody's in favor of that, then have at it. I mean, I think, and we do need the money to be able to be developed. I'm just historically uncomfortable with pre-authorizing the Board of Selectmen to take any and all actions they might deem appropriate on everything, because that gets away from the whole idea of town meeting being able to see what's in front of them, what the deal is, what they're getting for what they're giving, and vote. That's the whole point of town meeting.
Mary?
Joe, do we have a list of properties that you would fill in there sometime?
So the last time the assessor ran their report was a year ago. There were, at the time, 510 town-owned parcels. Now, within that, there are parcels that we're sitting in right now. But there was an inordinate number that are parcels owned by the town that are considered surplus. So we could work from that list, and of course try to identify some of the bigger ticket items if possible. So there is a way to identify map and parcel and all of that.
Julie?
So has our planner been involved in trying to figure out if that number is still the same, or has it grown even more? Because I know that there was some discrepancies there.
So he has not been involved in this process. This article really derived out of previous board discussions.
Okay.
Larry?
Don makes some good points. My problem is we can quickly make this so cumbersome that nothing will ever happen. And I'm a little concerned about that. And I don't know how you think, Julie, having the town planner involved, but we need to act very quickly. We're going to get something out there. And this will happen without any public debate before it goes to town meeting, right? So my fear is if we go as specific as Don, you're suggesting, it basically kills the action at this point.
I was actually thinking of what Michael said. It was the other article, funding it, and then having a consequent action to town meeting saying, this property, this property, this property, and this property, we're recommending you give us authority to sell.
Okay.
Which would pay that dollar amount to start.
Yeah.
I'd go more that direction, because this really worries me that it'll be a long debate and nothing will happen.
Is it too late to create another article with a dollar amount to vote for people to decide if they want to spend it? Joe, I can think of some properties that we're already talking about that we can put on here. We've discussed Queen Anne Road, what was known for a little while as what was going to be the pet cemetery. We've talked about Bank Street Firehouse. We have a respondent to the RFP on West Harwich School. So we could use some of the properties that have already been publicized to populate this list to try and raise that money.
I don't disagree. My only confusion is when you say an article with a dollar amount.
An article to say that we can hire a tax title person, a lawyer and an appraiser in the amount of up to $250,000 to $500,000.
Funded by this article.
Funded by those sales.
Funded by the sales of the second article.
Not to go back through maybe bad history, but in times in the past when we've tried to sell some property on Queen Anne Road, one of the major objectives that people had was we didn't specify where the money was going. The fear was you go back into the general fund, and then, of course, the greater fear that it'd be lost. And so having it directed towards specific use will help carry this article as well.
I know I'm stuck on this, Joe, because I think without an appropriation of money, we don't progress forward, and we're gambling if we put in these two articles. I think we should have a standalone article that ultimately states that whatever we acquire will come back to town meeting and get a menu that they're willing to sell and sell them and pay back the money. Can't we bond something like this if can we borrow and pay the borrowing with sale of land?
Have to get authority from town meeting.
Couldn't we add that into the article? I just think if we go to town meeting and ask for nothing, we're gonna be nowhere next year.
Yeah.
But didn't you start off this conversation by saying, because legal thought the other way was murky?
Correct. So I had a conversation with council over a month ago on this draft article, and to the best of my ability, tried to convey what the board's been working on and what the board wants to accomplish at town meeting. And so what she's indicated is that if we fill in the blanks through items A through D by identifying specific parcels, that the funds derived from the disposition of those can be used to support the town in the care, custody, management, and control of lands described with the tax custodian, et cetera, et cetera. So I can work with council again tomorrow to try to refine this.
And that if we were to do anything more, we could add a little additional language, maybe incorporate it, not all of what's been said, but some more of what's been said. Because if she's saying this is the cleaner way to do it, it's because she's specifically saying, you know, the map and parcel and all the other pieces, right? Not just the addresses, et cetera, and not just to say legally, she's identifying it and basically giving us the language to say we're carrying and the custodial services up so that we have it. I just think that if council's recommending this, let's look at what council's saying and ask for language that we can incorporate the other pieces as best as it's clear. You might still need your standalone, but I think you need to probably add language to this.
Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I get what Larry's saying, but I think we're equally at peril if we don't do anything and just say that it authorizes us to do any future actions to dispose of unknown properties. That's going to consume the discussion at town meeting. You know, the objective is commendable.
Yeah, we agree on, fair enough. I guess my only further recommendation is that we don't try to solve world hunger with this. We pick a couple properties that we feel really good that it's going to get agreement and get this started.
I'd love to get Queen Anne Road back on the tax rolls.
Yeah.
It's an industrial area.
No, I'm just, again, I'm just trying to think of, you know, we can certainly add some language there to say that, you know, that there's monies that will be a percentage set aside in a such and such fund in case somebody claims ownership, et cetera. But I think as clean as we can make it and as clear as we can make it,
And
we
how
don't
we're
have
gonna use
to
the funds.
overcomplicate it. Right, and we could designate the funds to a certain place.
All right, so we could vote to put this on the warrant tonight, and then we could get further information and vote the accept and adopt and add things next week when we have more time.
Do it.
Okay.
Is that okay? Go ahead with the motion.
I thought we already had the motion.
I can't remember.
That was yesterday.
No, I think I agree with Mary. I think we
All right,
just
it's
need
been
to
moved and
vote.
seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
I'm just going to abstain until we know.
And I'm an aye.
Why, if we did move, why didn't say we did?
Okay. I move that we, oh, no, this is already on the warrant, and we don't have a cost yet, so should we?
Do we have a cost on prior unused
Prior
bills?
bills?
A placeholder cost has been $5,000. I would defer to the finance director if it's a higher number or if that's changed.
I think we normally handle this on the motion because we don't,
On the actual.
on the actual motion.
It's good to pay our bills.
Yeah.
All right, so it's on the warrant. We don't have a number.
So,
Right.
So, I mean, we're going to support it regardless.
So
but
should
do
we just
support it
do it?
without a number? With an estimated number?
can we just make up a number, 5,000?
5,000.
I move that
We always
we,
changed it anyway.
We have to pay our bills.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article funding prior year's unpaid bills with an estimated cost of $5,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Another one, do we have a number for the town of Harwich, for the chamber?
We do, that's traditionally been 30,000.
30, okay.
And if I may, the previous one was accept and adopt, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article promoting the town of Harwich in the amount of $30,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. What would be the funding on that one?
So it's traditionally been through free cash, that's what's contemplated this year.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know this is a hell of a bad time to even talk about this, but at some point in time, as the future goes on here, that number's got to move, because the promotion of Harwich is a bigger deal now than it was 10 years ago. It's a much bigger deal.
Couldn't agree more.
It's huge.
But given where we're at today.
Yeah, I get it.
All right, moved and seconded to accept and adopt in the amount of $30,000 out of free cash. Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Do we have a number for the cultural
So that-
council?
What has traditionally been done is $3,600. That's what they usually ask for,
3,600.
and it's coming out of free cash if that's what the
Okay.
board
Yep.
votes.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article supplemental annual allocation of Mass Cultural Council for local cultural council grants in the amount of $3,600.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Okay.
This one we voted to put on
We
the
put it-
warrant,
yep.
and we did not vote any position on it, to accept and adopt.
Okay, I move we vote to accept and adopt the article amending Mass General Law governing the dispersal of school choice funds.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call vote, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
No.
Julie?
No.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
3-2.
Yes.
And page 43 is done.
Chase Library.
We made it through, we're now into the standalone.
Standalone articles.
These are not color-coded, Joe, but I assume they have to be put on the warrant and
Yes.
accept and adopt?
Well, yes, you'd have to place, you'd have to adopt, and you'd have to confirm a funding source. And so, again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for many of these, you may want to rely upon that yellow bordered handout that you have there.
Yep.
I've been trying to update as we go along. But these standalones, in many cases, are articles that do not yet enjoy placement in the warrant because they do not yet enjoy funding source. I also want to tell you that if you look at the stapled packet that says standalone articles, the very first one there was a placeholder. You should now have an updated sheet that council has written, and that's amend chapter 189 noise. And then the second one was a golf vehicle purchase.
This is one that we discussed
Many
removing
times, yeah.
Chapter 138 licenses from the noise bylaw.
Correct, and what council provided this evening is the single sheet page that says standalone articles, amend chapter 189, and is recommending both new language to be included, and you can see that as the bold underline, and also strike-throughs, which is the section at the end of the existing chapter.
Okay.
Okay.
We've discussed this several times, so.
Yeah.
Yep. I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article amending Chapter 189 noise.
Second.
He said we could go ahead without him, so you
Oh,
could do
did he?
your vice chair thing.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No, it's just, as I said, we've discussed this several times,
Yeah.
and so.
Yeah.
ready to
Mary,
move.
you good?
Yep.
Don?
I'm good.
Okay. Let's go on to,
Was that the vote?
oh, no, so we'll go ahead and vote.
Right, aye.
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 Okay. I vote that we move to accept and adopt the article amending Chapter 189 noise.
Second.
Any further discussion, Larry?
No.
Mary?
I'd just like to make a statement for the public, because I've gotten questions on this. We are not exempting anyone from the noise bylaws. We are going to be using the liquor regulations instead of the noise bylaw for the licensed establishments. So it's not a lessening of anything for the licensed establishments.
Good point.
Thank you, Mary. Don?
I'm good.
Anything? Okay. Do you want to go home with the
This-
accept and adopt?
Yeah, but maybe we should wait for Mario to come back so we have a 5-0
Okay, we can
vote.
wait.
Okay.
Something tells me he'll be here momentarily.
Yeah, like, watch him go past it.
I never reveal a source.
Now you can do it.
And furthermore,
And furthermore,
Right, we're voting on it. This is where,
voting on
this is,
accept and adopt,
noise bylaw.
amend 189 noise.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Oh, roll call vote. Larry.
Yeah, aye.
Julie.
Aye.
Mary.
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Okay.
So then, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I draw your attention back to the stapled package. So you've just taken care of the first one, which was the amendment of Chapter 189, the noise bylaw. And so what you'll see as you go through the packet of the standalones is these are items that have, in many cases, previously been in the capital plan, and in an effort to try and free up free cash, they were removed by me and confirmed by the Capital Outlay Committee. So now what we're really presented with is what do we want to add, what do we want to remove, and what do we want to amend. And I apologize, I really shouldn't be saying we, because it's you folks. So you would also have a spreadsheet, I think, Mr. Chairman, hopefully you have this document in front of you as well. And this is a spreadsheet that gets to one of the items, and that relates to DPW vehicles.
Okay, can we start with let's start with the first one, which was we did the first one.
Yeah,
Second one,
there,
golf
golf.
vehicles. In a memo that we will go over next week related to ARPA funds, one suggestion that was made by Finance Director was Office 365 we've been talking about, but one funding source for the golf vehicle was ARPA funds. Carol, do you want to just confirm what I said? And there's a balance left after Office 365, and you gave us two suggestions on things that had previously been cut, be funded out of that. Will you just say what they are?
That's correct. So the ARPA funds allow for general government or general services and general government expenditures. So the category that the town may choose is to take these funds in or to accept the $1.2 million in as revenue replacement, and then we'll be reporting to the federal government that they were used as general government services, and that includes capital as well. And so I believe, I didn't bring my memo that I had written last week with me, but the golf vehicle and perhaps the fire department vehicles perhaps were in a, they were just simply items that you could choose. But I will tell you that the document that you have before you with regard to the available balance of free cash, it lists wage adjustments there for personnel. I had not seen this document before. I was off for a few days last week, and so we just couldn't catch up. But I have your $750,000 as wage adjustments that are covered in the operating budget and fully funded. And your operating budget at this point in time, with what the recommendations that you gave or directions that you gave from your last meeting for any reductions or additions, is a balanced budget without the use of free cash. So that would free up $750,000 right here for you.
Perfect.
Thank you. So right now, the contemplation and the recommendation from our finance director is to take that $90,000 for the golf vehicles and pay for it out of the ARPA funds.
So that means we don't need
So we
an
won't,
article.
we won't need, well, we will need an article.
You still need it, yeah.
But funding source, we could put in the motion to be determined and then next week vote on that. And, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
This is a federal grant, and it's considered a federal grant so that the Board of Selectmen has formally accepted that federal grant. It doesn't need to be appropriated.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Don, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to be emphatic about this so that everybody understands. You know, the old model that we were doing, because she brought it up, the Office 365 is a radical departure from the way we've been doing business. We've been getting per license copies on a machine. There's a tremendous advantage to Office 365. It allows for cloud storage. It allows for collaboration, but it's a subscription service, and every year you got to re-up the subscription for all of the users. So everybody needs to walk into this thing understanding it's not like you could buy Office 2022 and it'll be good for the next 5 years until you want to buy another copy of something. It doesn't work like that.
So Carol has the ARPA funds projected out year 1, 290,526, year 2 through 5, 796,467. So this, I think, Don, what you're saying is it's year 6 and
Yeah,
beyond.
I just want everybody to be clear-eyed about it. I mean, I think it's a good idea because you can collaborate, and if anything, COVID proved that there's an advantage to being able to be in different places and still working together, but it comes at a cost.
So the question is, do we want to put this article on, oh, we don't have to. This is, what Carol's saying is we don't need an article. But would the board support the purchase of this vehicle with the ARPA funds? I guess that's a question we could answer next week when we go over this memo. If you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of that would be the privacy fence at the community center. Okay with taking those two up next
Yep.
week and
Yep.
not voting on those articles tonight? Okay. So golf vehicles. We'll go to the feasibility study. Request from the golf department, golf feasibility study in the amount of $35,000 for a 3-hole practice course. Go ahead.
It will be an article?
It will not be an article.
No, it will not be an article.
Yeah, if the board supports it, it will be paid for out of ARPA funds.
Okay, thank you.
Likewise on the privacy fence.
Privacy
fence. Board want to have a conversation on this or a motion to put it in the warrant? No, golf feasibility study for $35,000 paid for out of.
I'd like to see it on the warrant. This is a step forward with we're creating I think a great juvenile program. And this.
Any motion on that, Mary?
Sure. I move that we vote to place the golf feasibility study article on the warrant. Estimated cost $35,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion from the board?
No.
No.
All right. Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on the golf feasibility study with an estimated cost of $35,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Do we want to pause for a second? Nope, never mind. Vehicle, DPW. So privacy fence, we already discussed. Equipment, Joe, ball field mower, is that one of the deferred?
That got dropped.
In Link's newest proposal, Joe, is that dropped?
Yes.
Okay.
So what you would see is the spreadsheet in front of you. Spreadsheet indicates original request from DPW and then prioritized list from DPW.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So if you want, I can go through it, but it's pretty self-explanatory. The
Give me
number
one
goes from
sec,
559.
give me 1 second, Joe. John?
Sorry, Mike, the funding for the golf feasibility for.
It's out of their fund, the golf improve,
okay.
golf
Golf
improve.
improvement fund.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Joe.
Just saying that on the spreadsheet, you can see the original requests were 4 vehicles plus the ball field mower, which totaled $559,473. The DPW director, in consultation with our fleet maintenance manager, have deferred the high-track skid steer and the ball field mower. They've indicated that the Mack tractor, as we would expect, has actually gone up in cost by $15,000. The dump truck, the Peterbilt dump truck, which was originally contemplated for $190,000, they believe that with the purchase of a steel dump body to replace the existing will be sufficient for at least 5 years, and that costs $48,450. And then they originally had it listed as a Ford F-150. It's actually a Ford F-350 replacing a 150, and that price has also increased from $75,000 to $80,000. In any event, the changes now reflect a modified request from $559,473 to $298,450, and the contemplated funding source for that was free cash.
Get a motion on this, and then we'll get into board discussion. And it would be the
It would be the
vehicles.
second one, vehicle, VFW. I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article on vehicles for the DPW
And then
in
this
the
would be
amount
number.
of $298,450,
Second.
As presented.
as presented.
Joe, that's as presented off the spreadsheet you gave us.
Correct, thank you.
Great. Okay, moved and seconded. Board discussion. Don?
Yeah, my only curiosity is the ball field mower used for the cemeteries too, or? Yes. Okay, I'm just wondering how long this thing's gonna last.
Mary?
I have no questions.
Julie?
None.
Larry?
No.
John, do you have any questions? I want to make sure you have as much ammunition for your meeting as you can get.
Okay.
And I will give you this sheet of mine if you want the breakdown.
Well, I'm going off what was in your packet right here.
Yeah, take this one.
Okay.
Yep, this was a spreadsheet that Joe did today in cooperation with Link. This was the original, that's what you see in the packet. This is what Link has come back with, and that's the number.
So there's no ball, there's a ball field, okay. Oh, no, it's deferred.
No, ball field mower is deferred.
So it's just the three that were voted.
And that is from Link Hooper, that's who came up with that list, is Link, not us. So, Joe, anything else on this?
No, that was everything I had to present.
Okay, we ready for a vote?
Yep.
Yep.
Roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move
Don,
that-
he did, just so you know, he painfully, but did go through this with the guy that fixes everything, Kyle, and he's the one that deferred that. We don't, if we come back to this and there's anything left, we could bring another motion forward to restore that ball field mower. But right now, Link's happy with that.
You have to hope he doesn't run over any gravestones.
All right, so that's accepted and adopt now.
Yep. I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on DPW vehicles in the amount of $298,450 as presented.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie? Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All right.
Um,
Fire vehicles.
Fire
As
vehicles.
you know, that the original request also included a pumper truck in, I believe, the amount of $450,000. And that was a good chance that we'll get a grant, not a done deal, but a good chance, which would leave the town's portion at $22,500. So we have a couple options, would be to put the $22,500 in the, back in the fire department budget, or just ask the chief to find the $22,500 in his current budget. And now he's asking for support for the two vehicles, the $65,000. He's already made an argument as to why we need these and the condition of some of his other vehicles. Any questions for the chief, or do we want to go to a motion? Don?
I guess my question is, why wouldn't we put it back in his budget? He can't spend it unless it's a down payment for something else.
Because it's a grant, it would come out of, the match would come out of an operating budget.
No, I get that. I'm just saying that it's not as if we're going to put it in and he'll use it for something else because it's specifically for that. I don't see that there's much of a gamble.
Carol's shaking her head up and down, and that's enough for me. Joe, any comments?
I couldn't add anything more than what was said.
Thank you. Mary?
I don't have anything.
Julie?
I don't, but we have a mini pumper separate article.
We're
Right.
not there yet.
Yeah, but so
But we've
why?
had that conversation, so we're gonna have that conversation.
So we're gonna put the
next.
22.5 in the budget in the,
Well, that would be part of the motion if we decide to. The chief's ask right now
Is 130.
is
Right.
130.
no, I understand this article. Wasn't quite sure.
So the pumper truck they've applied for a grant.
Right, no, I get the whole pumper truck. I'm just saying.
You don't wanna put the 22
I'm just asking, then we're gonna amend it to, no, forget it, I'm sorry.
We just keep,
Just keep moving.
I
I'm
just was saying we can't short them because we
Larry,
can't
any
use the
questions?
grant.
No,
right.
no, Julie's asked my question.
Larry, you want to make a motion?
I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article on fire vehicles in the amount of $130,000.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Do we want to keep that as an estimate, or do we want that as a final number? How confident are we?
I would prefer the option estimate, just based on vehicle increases.
Thank you.
I think we'll be able to do it, but
Estimated cost?
Estimated was in my budget, my motion.
All right. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, and this would be out of free cash, John? All right, where are we now?
Here's the pumper.
Julie's
Oh, we gotta
favorite, the
accept
mini
and
pumper.
adopt.
Oh, that was just a place.
That was just a place.
Sorry. I move that we accept and adopt the article on fire vehicles in the estimated amount of $130,000.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Go ahead and, why don't we see? See if the town will vote to raise an appropriate transfer from available funds and/or borrow a sufficient amount of money to purchase and equip the following vehicles and act fully thereon. Estimated cost $22,500 for a mini pumper. Joe or Chief, do you want to give us an explanation? Brief.
brief explanation, grant program to replace 2 vehicles with one, which will give us more capability. And the grant's for $450,000. It's a 5% match to the town. All we're looking for is the match amount of $22,500.
Thank you. Where would the funding come from for that, Joe? Do we put that into the budget?
So if it's in the budget, it would be raise and appropriate. If it's elsewhere, there's free cash available.
Okay.
I'm tracking it.
I'd go for free cash on that one, but Mary, you want to make a motion?
I will. I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article on the mini pumper with an estimated cost of $22,500.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion of the board. Larry?
No.
Julie?
None.
Nope.
Mary? Don? Okay, roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. And John, that would be free cash as well? 22.5?
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on the mini pumper with an estimated cost of $22,500.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move, turn the page. I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article amending the code of the Harwich General Bylaw,
This is
Chapter.
the one we talked about, and we were comfortable that the town administrator was gonna fix this, isn't it?
So we're
Yeah.
removing it, right?
So we're not
We're
gonna.
not
yeah,
doing
we're
that,
not.
okay.
We're not expending this though, at least this year.
Okay, the Harwich Water Dependent Structures Bylaw, Joe, we voted that last week. They were removing Section B and
Correct.
things related to moratorium and Herring River?
Correct. What you see here is the net effect of what you voted last week, so it's a, quote, clean copy. And what's missing is, if you look at the second page of it, you can see down towards the bottom, within Section 304-4 restricted areas, you no longer see a reference to item B. That was the moratorium language that you removed. And then the only other question that we wanted to validate was, were there any other references in the proposed bylaw that would have been impacted by the change? And I believe the answer is there are not.
And I think the motion could state, can't the motion state with the removal of the moratorium? Or don't?
Correct. Well, that'd be the explanation that would say that.
Okay, all right. So we've already voted to put this on the warrant? Did we vote to
Yes.
support it?
We have not.
I didn't think we put it on the warrant even, did we?
I thought we were waiting for the new copy.
Yeah.
I didn't think we
Is it
did.
on the warrant, Joe?
I guess it wouldn't hurt to do it twice. Can we get a motion
And
on
it's
that?
not highlighted.
I move that we vote to place the article on the Harwich Water Dependent Structures bylaw on the warrant.
Second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Don?
Yeah, I do think we voted, and because, because Ernie called me the next day and he goes, "Why did you abstain?" And just as a matter of explanation, I abstained because I didn't have the language in front of me. And I hate to, give anticipatory votes to something I haven't even seen. So
we did vote it.
I'd be more than happy to change my vote
but we can
based
vote
on
again.
having something in writing now.
All right, so let's vote it again.
Okay.
All right, so any further discussion?
No.
All in favor? Roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on Harwich Water Dependent Structures bylaw. Is that where you want me to put minus the moratorium?
I don't think
I don't think
No.
we need it.
Not in
It's
here.
just- it's
All
not
right.
there.
Joe said it's gonna be in the explanations.
Okay.
So I'm seconding it.
So moved in second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, we are joined by our conservation agent, who certainly would want to speak to this.
Hi, Amy.
Good evening. I don't have any need to speak unless you want me to. I was present just in case you had questions. Actually, I will mention the Conservation Commission is meeting just to speak about this on Wednesday to formally vote that, that change.
Can you, Thursday morning, give that vote count to Joe so that the board can be forwarded that?
I'll do it first thing Thursday.
Thank you, Amy. Anything, all right, so where are we at? Accept and adopt?
Yeah, and you were just about to take the
Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All right, where are we at?
Oh, are we done?
I think so. We had a couple to go back to, though.
We did?
What were we going back to?
Well, I'll find the ones we were gonna go back to, because I know I made a note. Can we talk about the capital? That's one we were gonna go back to.
Oh, yeah.
Capital. And then the first question I have is on the 750,000. Carol put that into the operating budget, and now the board is comfortable taking that out of the capital?
It was taking it out of free cash.
Taking it out of free cash, sorry. Carol, do you want to speak to that? Just want to make sure we have a number in front of us that's real. So we have it now into the budget, the operating budget.
That's correct.
So it can be removed from,
Absolutely.
okay. Board's okay with that?
Sure.
Mary?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
John? I'm not asking if you're okay with it, but comments?
The only other one that I asked earlier is the putting the full-time positions.
Yep, that's on my list. So Joe, do you want to go over capital and anything that we may have missed? And then if you've come up with a balance, and if not, of what's left, if not, we'll adopt that capital budget.
So the only cut that remains that was originally contemplated under free cash is under, on the capital budget, is under administration, beautifying the villages of Harwich. That was a program where there was $50,000 each year for the next 5 years. And again, we would imagine that to go out 2 more years so that all 7 villages have some allotment, or try to do it that way.
Okay,
So
what's
we
the
haven't
balance?
restored that yet.
What's the balance that you have?
So we started with a free cash balance of $3,076,202.
Mhm.
We've removed the $750,000 from wage adjustments because it's in the operating budget. You have restored $22,500 for the mini pumper. You have restored up to $298,450 for the DPW vehicles, and you've restored $130,000 for the fire department vehicles. The golf vehicle is ARPA, and the privacy fence would be ARPA. And so,
And the police department vehicles that we added?
so those were already contemplated in the overall bottom line, so those, if you look at the
Oh, yeah,
spreadsheet
there
you're
they
looking
are,
at.
157, yep.
So then, the sum total of those votes, and if you want me to go through it from top to bottom, I can,
You don't need to.
is $2,379,000 $279.
Say that one more time?
$2,379,279.
Okay.
With an anticipated, and I just qualify that because I'm doing math and we ought not want to have me do math, is $696,923, ending in free cash available.
696 left.
696,923.
Okay. All right, questions from the board? Don? Nope. Mary?
No.
Julie?
No.
Larry?
None.
What does the board feel about the 50,000 for beautifying?
I think that can wait.
Okay.
Yep.
Larry?
I agree.
I agree.
Don?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now can we talk about, so we gotta adopt this. Or do we wanna talk about stabilization and OPEB out of that 696 number, or try and figure out a way to reduce anything more in our operating budget? Any thoughts, Joe? Mary slammed that, I didn't.
Well, it got my attention. Well, if I'm reading my notes correctly, the board, you have $250,000 for OPEB in the operating budget already. So you do not have anything dedicated for stabilization this year, but I think what I heard the board talking about last week is your stabilization fund is your rainy day fund. I think you all thought it was an appropriate thing to waive on this year. If you restore it, it's just a little bit more than half of what's available.
Is there any reasonable reductions we can make with that money in the operating budget? Carol?
So just one note, snow and ice is listed here as 266,337, and we don't have that final number yet. I don't anticipate, unless there's some kind of a weather event that happens, that it would be anywhere near 300,000. So we do need to take that into account when you're thinking about the remaining balance. And you know, your operating budget is balanced. It's balanced with the additional revenues that we are more aggressive on estimating, and you know, I don't see any changes that you need to make for like a one-time influx of free cash into your operating budget, because I believe this is the first year that I've been here that you haven't had to use it for any of those purposes, and that's significant.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, Joe?
No, the numbers that I read, I restored the snow and ice. It presently reflects the original 400,000. So the higher number is back in there.
So we may have another 100 there.
Correct.
Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Anybody out there who's listening to this still, I think it's really important for them to understand, especially after Carol just said that, we're not taking any risks. We just decided that it was overly prudent and we could allow ourselves to realize more future revenue than was originally put in.
Thank you. Mary?
No, I don't have anything.
Julie?
Just reconfirming that these numbers also represent adding our part-time seasonal harbor master assistant in here and money to Carol on community center. Those numbers are being carried, correct?
Correct. The restorations, so I think the accurate way to say it is the enhancement of services that you approved last week were factored into the spreadsheet that you have this evening.
Okay, thank you. Nothing else.
Larry?
Of the balance, it'd be good if we could put something into OPEB, maybe a couple $100,000 or something. So
In addition to what's in the operating budget?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carolyn? I want to put you on the spot.
How y'all doing?
I want you over a foot.
Carolyn had originally requested $4,800 for, we just, you don't have to read the whole list, but I'm sure you'll remember it.
I do.
Will you tell us what the $4,800 was for?
Sure. So we do programming at the community center, and I have $0 in the budget. I rely heavily on the community to make donations. So we were looking to increase programming. So far this year, I've done an additional 5 programs, and I was looking to do more programs. I'm still going to ask the community. Sorry, I love you. Sorry. But I also think that there's a lot that we could be doing with a small amount of money. So, you know, I get questions about shredding events, and can we have movie nights, and can we, so a lot in the winter, and some things are going to cost more than others, so we estimated it to be about $400 a month to do at least one program for the entire community. So please.
So the board's approved 2,400. Does the board want to consider making that 4,800?
I do, because I don't want Carolyn to give the same spiel again.
Move for reconsideration of the prior vote. Move for reconsideration of the prior vote.
I'll second. Don's made a motion to reconsider the prior vote, and I've seconded it, so if we pass that, then we can put another motion in to make it 4,800. So roll call vote, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
I'm an aye. We have a motion. Don, do you want to make that?
Yeah, I move that we authorize $4,800 for the Community Center Activities Fund.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, we're on to the, actually, Joe, on the, do you want a motion on the capital plan? Is there an article that we were gonna go back to on capital?
So there is, if you go back to the original warrant document, although I don't have an updated spreadsheet to give you the numbers.
But you have the numbers, so we can vote it, and we'll get FinCom and the board.
Yeah, so if you look on your page 16 of your original draft warrant that was in your packet, we have adopt the capital budget.
Joe, will you give us the number that includes the 2,400 additional dollars?
The 2,400 was operating budget.
Was that operating budget?
That's not capital.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, then is it the 2,379,279?
Give it the once over, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
So the fiscal year '23 capital budget now comes to $3,281,298.
Can you do that slower?
Sure. $3,281,000.
That's not, I don't think so, Joe.
So this would be the capital budget that's in the capital plan, and it's referencing,
Oh, there's other funding sources,
Correct.
never mind. I was looking
Yep.
at free cash.
right, no, thank you
Okay.
though. You're right, there's other funding sources, which is the reason why that number goes up.
Yep.
So $3,281,298.
Okay. I move that we vote to place on the warrant the article to adopt the capital budget in the amount of $3,281,298.
Second.
Okay, moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, Don?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Joe, could you get that email, if you can, off to John Chory tomorrow morning so that he has,
Yeah, what I'd like to do on that is just make sure everything is accurate based on the votes tonight, and share a blind copy to the board and the FinCom.
thank you.
I move that we vote to accept and adopt the article on the capital budget in the amount of $3,281,298.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
And just a note, in the draft article, this will be referenced as Appendix C.
Appendix
C as in
what?
Charles.
C.
Appendix C.
C.
Thank you. No further discussion. Roll call, Larry?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. All right, next up was based on a comment earlier, and we have discussed this before, which would be placing the new positions, I think more specifically the cultural director and the housing advocate, as standalone articles. The other positions, which I haven't found that piece of paper yet, is the upgrade in the Council on Aging Programs Director and Health Director. So those would be upgrades, not new positions. I guess I would go to board thoughts on that, and I'll start with Larry.
Yeah, as I commented last time, I guess we haven't been maybe as consistent as I had thought, but at one time, as a board, we had decided to put full-time positions on as a town warrant article, with the thinking that those are basically conceptually almost the same as a debt override. You know, they put it on once, but it's continuing over time. It's not a standalone item, and that the town should have for full-time positions, should have a say on that. So I would hope we put it on and let the town have their say.
And just so I'm clear, Larry, that would be on the two positions or the upgrades as well?
The two full-time positions. We've never, right.
Cultural director and the housing advocate.
Yeah, I mean, history's not everything, but we've never, we've only, in the past, we've always tried to do full-time positions, not the upgrades.
Julie?
I don't have any problem with that.
What?
I have nothing.
No comment on whether we do it or not? Okay. Mary?
Joe, I thought last week, if that's when we talked about it, whenever we talked about this last, I thought you said that if it's in the budget, it doesn't need a standalone article.
Right, that's the understanding that I had. Just to step back for a moment, when I first contemplated the two new positions, I questioned a number of folks to say, can someone show me a draft article, what it's looked like in years past? And the position that, the quote, most recent position was of our facilities manager in the DPW department. And I believe Sean's been with us for 6 or 7 years. And so I couldn't find any article that related to that, and I was able to find that it was embedded within the operating budget. And so that's what motivated me originally to mention that it was an article, because I was working on an assumption. When I tried to validate it, I didn't come up with anything that shows past examples. Admittedly, I didn't go beyond that one. And then the only other thing I would say is whether the board contemplates this or not, I do think it's a little bit problematic this evening because you didn't give notice.
Okay, we can do this Monday, but let's have the conversation. Go ahead, Don. It's just on articles.
The short take is the article isn't going to specify the funding source anyway. The funding source is going to be what we say it is. Personally, I agree with Larry. I mean, it was only fairly recent. Well, 7 years to you may not be recent, but it is to me. It's been only recently that that's changed. It used to be past practice for something like 20-some-odd years that you started with an article so that they didn't have to play Where's Waldo in the budget and see if there's anything substantive that changed. From there on in, it always goes back into the budget. And we could certainly source the money from the operating budget in that article.
I could go either way. I think that, this has been a priority of the boards. How long, we've been talking about housing as long as I can remember. Town administrator took the initiative to put it into the operating budget as a priority. We've accepted his priorities.
But we're not disputing that. We're just saying it comes out in a public way.
The other way to do that, Larry, is, as chairman of the finance committee, speaking for himself tonight, has said is, they ultimately can make a motion on town meeting floor to amend the operating budget. So why would we have a separate article after the operating budget with a position in it, after we've already put the operating budget in front of everybody to vote a number?
Just so that is open in front of everyone of what we're doing in staff changes.
That's after they vote the operating budget.
Right. But nevertheless, there's a full understanding of what we're doing, because the operating budget can always be modified as we go forward. Because it's in the operating budget, we don't have to spend it.
John?
Thank you, Michael. I do have a copy of that Sean Libby article right here.
You give it to town administrator.
I did a little research and found it. That's it right there. It's from the annual town meeting 2011.
Okay. Thank you. What's the board's pleasure? It's the board's decision on what we do. I'm gonna remain where Joe is on that, and I'm not gonna make the motion. So,
May I just
Go
give a
ahead.
point of order?
Go ahead.
So the document that was just presented to me was because the town wanted to fund it through an override. And that has to be a standalone article. But I don't know that it relates to what I was talking about under the charter, point number one. And point number two, I would have loved to have had this information when I asked for it 6 months ago. But having said that, the article that's purported to be in that warrant was for an override. And that's not the manner in which I, as administrator, nor did I understand the board direct me to use that as a funding source.
Thank you. Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That is true, but I mean, there's been past practice, both the police and fire had personnel added by articles that were not overrides at one point. And they got incorporated into the operating budget as increased staff.
Chief?
So just for a little history, our last 4 positions that have just been added to the operating budget. Back in 2000, we added 4 positions in a February town meeting that were added into the operating budget and then were put out to an override in the subsequent May town meeting, and were ultimately taken off that override because it put the positions in jeopardy. So but the override was eventually successful, but there was a whole bunch of positions on that. So to my knowledge, we've never done separate articles for positions except for that one time in 2001 or 2000.
And there were 4 police officers also around that time.
Okay.
I don't remember any either, Chief. We're not gonna settle this one tonight, and I said we were gonna leave at 9. So, last week we were here till 10. We'll put this on for next week.
We started this meeting at Central Time.
But I would ask that each board member give some serious thought to it, because we're gonna be asked to vote on an article which I think already exists that Joe put placeholders in next week, accept and adopt also, but on those 2 positions. So keep that in your head, and Joe, please put on the agenda for next week.
So if I could, that would be a vote to reconsider the board's action last week, because the board did vote to not place those articles.
That is correct. And then, Joe, I want the ARPA memo on there so the board can vote the recommendations on the ARPA funds and accept it. I've seemed to have lost my agenda in the pile, but I think that concludes.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just very quickly, I know the chairman of Finance Committee had mentioned 4 positions.
Yes,
Is the board simply focused on the 2 new positions?
Is the board focused on
The
the
full-time
2?
positions, yes.
The 2, thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there anything else on here?
I think just,
Town administrators report.
Not a word.
Selectmen's report. Don.
Nothing.
Mary.
I'm good.
Larry.
Went that away.
I'm not as good as Mary, but I'm right up there.
Julie.
Polar plunge, nice job.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, I think Craig was online. Craig was involved. They were all there. Great
was
event.
great.
Deputy Chief Considine did an awesome job speaking, too. So.
Yeah, he did.
He's under an electric blanket right now.
And I believe Mark went in the water.
Yes.
Yes,
Mark
he did.
That's right. Amy, yeah.
All right,
Since we seem to be already
get a
there,
motion
can I
to
move to
adjourn?
be adjourned?
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, Larry.
Aye.
Julie.
Aye.
Mary.
Aye.
Don.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. There's a few more signatures coming your way, Julie and Larry.
No. I'm not doing it. We're not done.
Well, Ellen's on vacation, so she won't be mad at you.
No, I will sign. I will stay. Hey, I'm gonna hang till 10. I thought that was a great ending time. Have you know that I was so